Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. A fun show lined up, and we are kicking things off. Desmond Wong of the Gentlebros. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. It's a really bright and fresh morning here in Singapore. So yeah, great. Yeah, great to have the interview with you right now. Yeah.
So it's a bright and sunny morning over there, and it is a cold, rainy night where I am.
Well, yeah, I guess the world's a big place, right?
Yeah, you are pretty much on the opposite side of the world from me right now.
Yeah, I think our time difference is about like 12 hours, right? I think I'm not exactly sure, but
I
yeah,
think 12 or 13, here. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to work with like an American partner, and like every time we would have to have like Skype calls with them, it would be like in the dead of night right here in Singapore, and like crazy morning right there. So it's really tough. Yeah, but it's okay now. Yeah, it's okay now.
That sounds fun. Like, yeah, during normal business hours over here, it would be middle of the... Oh my God, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. So like the only time that we could meet or talk was like in the wee hours for them, or like in the dead of night for us. So yeah. Well, it wasn't great. Yeah.
How's it going over there in Singapore? I don't know. It's 3 a.m. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
So you were here to talk about your brand new game, Cat Quest, just released on the Switch, on PS4. For the people who don't know what Cat Quest is, give us the sales pitch. What is this game?
Okay, so Cat Quest is basically an open world RPG that takes place in the world of cats. So you basically play as a cat who's trying to rescue his sister, but it's all about exploring a massive world that is designed with cats in mind. So everything is basically a huge cat pun. You know, there's lots of cat stories to go through. It's basically an open world RPG that's distilled into its essentials. So I would say it's kind of like a rapid fire RPG. So we've designed the game to be constantly rewarding, be able to be played in bite-sized sessions, as well as a huge hourly session as well. So which makes it great for the Switch because it's both portable and able to be docked for like couch play and stuff like that. Yeah.
I was going to say, pick up and play is perfect for the Switch.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's perfect for our game as well because you can be playing for like 5 minutes and just stop and you still feel like you accomplished something in the game. So that was our main goal. Yeah.
I will say I've put a chunk of time into Cat Quest myself so far. It's one of those games where when I first bought the game, I sat down and thought, let me put 5-10 minutes into this, kind of get the hang of it, see what the game's like. I'll come back to it later on. And then like 3 hours later, I'm like, I need to go to bed.
Oops. Sounds great, man.
So you kept me up way too late. Longtime listeners of the show know that I'm a cat guy. I have 8 of the little bastards running around my house right now.
Okay.
So a cat RPG is like directly up my alley. And when I first saw this game, I'm like, oh my God, I need this game in my life.
Well, thanks. I mean, yeah, we felt the same way as well. I mean, we all love cats, and yeah, there was a distinct lack of cat RPGs. I mean, if you don't count Skyrim and playing as a Khajiit, I guess, yeah.
I guess that's the original Cat Quest, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Like a slightly more realistic and less cutesy version, I guess, yeah.
I don't know, those dragons are pretty cute.
Really? Okay. I see.
So what made you guys want to create an RPG of cats?
Oh, it's actually a pretty long story. So actually Cat Quest started off as a dancing game right at the beginning. Yeah, so it was really weird. So basically we wanted to make a game about cats. We initially had an idea called Copycat, where you will copy another player's dance moves and something like that. So it was basically a dancing game. But we quickly realized like none of us had any musical talents whatsoever. So we couldn't possibly create a rhythm music game based on cats. So we changed the idea many times, we prototyped newer stuff, and long story cut short, we quickly realized that we all love RPGs, we all love cats. There wasn't really an RPG with cats yet, and we thought it would be a really great chance to do something like that, because we felt a lot of RPGs nowadays are all like focused on like human characters, right? So like the stories you can tell with such characters are pretty limited. Like not say limited, but it's a lot of it has already been told. So but if we had changed like the protagonist to a cat instead, like suddenly all the problems a cat would have will be different, and we could tell fresher stories, put all sorts of cat puns in our game, and yeah, hopefully create a fresh experience for players. So that was our goal. Yeah.
Nice. I know you mentioned that you were originally considering some kind of rhythm game. I'm a big rhythm game fan as well, and part of me really, really wants to see a rhythm game made from people who have no rhythm.
Oh, it's not going to be good, man. It's going to be the worst rhythm game ever made.
I don't know, that might sound like a lot of fun, actually.
Right. Yeah, maybe in the future when we have time, we could experiment, like maybe go back and see whether we can do anything with Copycat again, I guess. But yeah, not looking forward to that. It was quite a nightmare when we tried to do that prototype. Yeah.
I kind of want to see that now, if there's an actual prototype out there.
I think it's still lying around somewhere, but okay, I it's really not great. It's really not great. It's something we want to bury like 6 feet under the ground and never ever think about it again. Yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like going towards an RPG was the better route.
Yeah. I mean, we're really happy with how the game turned out. So yeah, we're glad we tried to do this. I mean, with our first game, Slashy Hero was our first game. It had some RPG elements already. So going into Cat Quest, it wasn't like a strange land for us. We did have a little bit of experience with RPG mechanics. So it was just basically expanding what we already did and putting some new stuff in as well, basically. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played Slashy Hero, but now looking it up, I think I might have to grab that and try it.
Oh, if you do, try to get it on mobile, I think, because the touchscreen, it makes it much easier to play and much more better. Yeah.
Nice. So with Cat Quest, I know one of the first things that brought us together in contact with each other was the fact that I was incredibly sad that this is not available on the Xbox, because
Yeah.
we're Xbox fans on the show. We love the Switch as well. That other system, fucking whatever. But I was very, very sad that there was no Xbox plans for this game. And in talking with you, I think I somehow got Chris Charla of Microsoft in touch with you. Has that happened? Are you guys in touch with each other?
Yeah. In fact, we've already conversed a few times over email, and we just got the notification today that we've been approved for the system. So
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to you, man. Yeah, we are gonna start working on Cat Quest for the Xbox really soon.
Yes, I am so happy. I feel like I finally accomplished something in my life.
I'm sure you've accomplished much more than that, but yeah.
Debatable.
But yeah, I mean, from where we're from in Singapore, like I think Microsoft has really very little presence here, so it was really hard for us to get into contact with them. Like we will shoot like emails and get no reply back and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have gotten this chance. So yeah, really, thanks a lot, man. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing my name as a thank you in the credits on the Xbox One version of the game.
Sure. We will remember to put your name in the credits. Yeah. Special thanks. Yeah.
That's pretty cool that you guys are in touch and that it's looking like Cat Quest is going to be questing on the Xbox soon. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm happy to hear that's happening.
Cool, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit weird that Cat Quest is on every other platform as an Xbox. So we do want to like put it on there just to show that, Cat Quest can be on everything. So yeah, it's pretty exciting for us.
Awesome. Very happy to hear it. Yeah. I know there's some companies out there that it seems every company we talk to has had a different experience with different companies. Some people we talk to are like, yeah, we've been in great contact with Nintendo and Sony, but we haven't heard anything from Microsoft. Other people are like, yeah, we're very much in touch with Microsoft. Sony won't give us the time of day. And others are like, Nintendo has never talked to us and I don't think they ever will. So it's just so weird how different companies have different experiences with the same corporations.
Yeah, I think it's really just a lot of luck and maybe positioning. Like it really depends on where you are, the people you meet. So for us, I guess we just so happened to meet people from Nintendo, people from Sony, people from Apple, Google and stuff like that. We all just kind of cross paths. So that allowed us to get in talks with them and bring our stuff to their system. I guess we were just unlucky not to meet anyone from Microsoft, but yeah, I mean, all that's changed. So I guess it's not really. It's just really a lot of luck, basically. It's who you meet. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that. Yeah.
It's crazy. So this started off on Steam and on mobile, right?
Yeah, Steam first, mobile a few days later, and then now Switch and PS4. Yeah.
What were the differences working on something for Steam and on working on something for iPhone and Android, and then switching over to console?
Wow, it's okay. Firstly, it's been a nightmare. It's been really, really tough. So yeah, like the entire control scheme for mobile is different from that on Steam or consoles. So on consoles and Steam, obviously it supports the gamepad. On Steam, you can play on the keyboard and mouse, but on mobile, you only have the touchscreen. So basically, all the controls had to be redone for a touchscreen. So instead of moving around the analog sticks, you would tap to move. Tapping on an enemy would auto attack the enemy on mobile. So yeah, we had to change the entire control scheme. We even had to go as far as to rebalance certain things for mobile, because the mobile version as of now doesn't have the dodge roll. So which is a pretty important move in the console and PC versions, right? So yeah, we had to rebalance the game for mobile to account for that. With regards to actually making the game for the platforms, every platform has their own achievement system, their own trophy system. So we had to rebuild that almost from scratch for every platform. Same thing for the iCloud settings, the cloud saving stuff, on Steam is different from that on iOS, is different from that on Android. So every platform has its own quirks, and right now I think we're supporting 11 different builds of Cat Quest. So
Holy
every time,
shit.
yeah, it's crazy. So you can just imagine, like, every time we want to issue an update about the game, right? So like we have an update for Cat Quest coming out at the end of the month. We have to test it 11 times. And sometimes we may find a bug on the Switch that isn't present on the Steam version, and vice versa. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, and yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah.
11 different builds. Hey, it's going to be 12 soon, right?
Yeah. And I'm not so sure if the Xbox One X is another build on its own. So we'll have to check. We just got the documents from Microsoft, so we're going to go through it soon and see what it's going to be like. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works either. I know, like, I just got my Xbox One X last week. I'm really loving the thing. Is a game like Cat Quest something that you would consider using the power of a system like that, or, using the capabilities of the PS4 Pro? Like, is 4K Cat Quest a thing?
So that's a really tough question, because Cat Quest as of now is already kind of running at max settings, in a sense, on like the lowest platform. So because of the nature of Cat Quest being a 2D game, right, we can't just upres the art without redrawing it. So it's going to be tough to bring it up to 4K without practically redoing the game. So, but we can add more bells and whistles, like we can add more particles to the game and stuff like that we can definitely increase the base resolution. But like stuff like redrawing the art, it's going to be like a huge time sink. So we probably might not do that. But yeah, I mean, Cat Quest isn't a very demanding game, being a 2D game after all. So we're not sure how much of the Xbox One X's power that we can use, since the game already kind of runs at like 60 frames per second on like the base consoles. So yeah, we're not so sure about that yet. We have to like try some stuff out, experiment, and see where it could go.
Nice. Have you guys done anything special with the PS4 Pro, or is it just the same game across the board?
I think that's just like a resolution bump, but yeah, we didn't really add any new stuff to the PS4 Pro version.
Gotta have that 4K fur texture on there, and
Oh
like
man.
real life catnip particles. I don't know what the hell you would do.
Well, we'll have to see. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. What kind of bells and whistles could you put on a game like this? It looks great the way it is. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, easiest thing we could do is just add more particles, like more wind particles flying around. Like, I guess we could we had an idea to add like some depth of field effects for the background, so it has a more like cool look to the game, like a more like a better aesthetic. But yeah, in terms of like the base art and like the base look of the game, there's really not much we can do unless we redraw everything, which is going to be crazy for our artists. So yeah.
Is this something that you guys have considered possibly, like, would a 3D version work for like the 3DS, or I believe the PS4 still supports 3D games?
3D as in what like 3D as in like depth, like with 3D glasses and stuff. What do you mean?
Yeah, like on the 3DS, how it's just like a 3D image.
Actually, I really don't know. We have not tried anything with stereoscopic 3D yet, so yeah, I really can't say. But the fact being that our game is essentially 2D, so there isn't really there isn't much 3D information in the game to speak of. So we're not sure how that would translate to stereoscopic 3D or anything like that. So yeah, we can't really say much about that as we don't really know yet.
So it's available on Steam, it's available on mobile, it's available on consoles. Are you guys looking into 3DS or Vita support at all?
No, not at the moment. From what we know, those two platforms require like a whole different architecture almost, especially for the 3DS. And like the 3DS has a really strict RAM limit and stuff like that, which I'm not so sure CatQuest could perform well on it. So yeah, I mean we already have 11 builds to take care of, and I think adding two more might really.
No, you gotta hit 20. You gotta find a way to hit 20.
Hit 20. Oh my goodness! No, we're just a 3-man team, so we're really stretched thin as is. So yeah, we really have to pick and consider which platforms we want to support, because if we're stretched too thin, we can't really give the same level of care and support for each version of the game that we do now. So yeah, we want to be careful about that going into the future. Yeah.
So how long has this game been in the works? Like when did you first come up with the concept? How long has it been in development?
So it's been in production for 11 months. And before that we were in pre-production for about 3 to 4 months. So the pre-production period was where we were experimenting with all those ideas, like where the dancing idea came out from, and like basically all the concepts and stuff like that. And yeah, after that 3 to 4 months period, we just made CatQuest full time for about 11 months, and we shipped it in August this year, like, which was a few months ago. Yeah. So yeah, I would say the whole development cycle was about 13-14 months, I think. Yeah,
that's a pretty quick turnaround. I know some people we've had on the show are like, yeah, first came up with the concept in middle school. It's been about 14 years now. A little bit of an exaggeration, but I know some people, they could work on a game for 4, 5, 6 years before it comes out. So a year and a half tops is pretty good turnaround, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's when we set up our company, we definitely wanted to try to get a game out every year and a half, because we feel like if the game takes too long to make, like let's say if we took like 3 years for a game, right, that game would have to be so successful that it would have to cover the cost of those 3 years, as well as cover the cost of making the next game, which would most likely take another 3 years if that was what we were going for. Yeah. So if we could release a game every year and a half, right, so that would allow us to go for longer and basically make more games in that sense, and be more stable as a business and as a company. So yeah, with that in mind, when we think of the project that we want to do, we want to make sure that we can do that project with the manpower we have and in the time that we set aside for ourselves. So yeah, we do tend to stay away from projects that would take us like 3-4 years to make. Like we're definitely not going to make like the next Final Fantasy 16. You get what I mean? Like there's absolutely no way we can possibly do that. So yeah, but we do want to expand our team like by a little bit so we can make a better game in the same amount of time. So yeah, that's our goal for now.
You say you're not trying to make Final Fantasy 16, but don't forget the original Final Fantasy was a 2D RPG. So by the time Cat Quest 16 rolls around.
Wow, Cat Quest 16, man. Holy shit. I haven't thought that far yet, but that would be kind of cool.
It'll be what, like, I don't know, 20 years from now, you'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary of Cat Quest with Cat Quest 16 online.
Man. Cat Quest 16 online MMORPG.
Yeah.
with microtransactions, right? Because that's all the rage, right?
Oh god.
Oh man, like the recent thing with like Battlefront 2 and Shadow Mordor. Wow, it's like shit, man. Like free to play mechanics are going into our AAA games, so that's quite scary.
I'm actually kind of worried because it's no secret to our listeners. Many times I will record the show out of order and then just staple shit together. Earlier today, I recorded the second half of the show, and one of the big topics of discussion was EA with the Battlefront situation. And then maybe not even an hour ago, I saw some kind of news update, I think on GameSpot, that said EA has removed the microtransactions from the game.
Yeah, I just read that news article this morning as well. But it's a temporary removal, right? Like they are going to put it back.
I have no idea. I didn't see any kind of update to it. I just saw like they're gone. You can't buy anything. The story is developing, and I'm just sitting here like, fuck. I just spent like 45 minutes talking about this shit on the show earlier. It's already obsolete.
Right. Yeah, that just goes to show how fast our industry moves, right? Like a year back, or like maybe even 6 months back, like no one would have thought that our AAA games would have like loot boxes and microtransactions to like in the way that we see now. But that's just how fast our industry moves, and in some ways it's really scary for us developers because like whatever we think will work now, it suddenly won't work like a few months from now. So we constantly have to be on our toes. Yeah, but there's been rumblings. Like I have friends in Ubisoft, I have friends in a lot of different companies, and it seems like the general word out is that most companies want to move into games as a service. So which is kind of why we are seeing a lot of games taking that model right now.
Yeah, that's a phrase I'm not a big fan of. I miss the days when you could just buy a game and play a game, you know, like Cat Quest, you just buy it and play it. And now it's like, well, we always have to find ways to make more money, get more money, keep people playing it for months and months and months and months. And like sometimes I don't want to play a game for multiple months. I want to play it for 2 weeks, beat it, and then move on. If they release DLC for it, like a new story chapter or whatever, yeah, I'll come back to it and play it and see what's changed and how things are doing. But I don't give a shit enough to beat a game and then keep playing it for another year and a half, trying to get pretty skins out of a loot box. I don't know. That's...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, for sure, I feel the exact same way. So like, I like to play a lot of different games, like, you know, so I get a nice balance of stuff. But I do know people that like just play Destiny, right? Or they just play like Overwatch for just the whole year, you know. There are those players out there. And I think a lot of publishers are seeing the mobile market, right? They're seeing like how these games as a service, quote unquote, are making like hundreds of millions like every day or like, you know, every month. So they're seeing that there's a huge slice of the market that these publishers want to get, and it's not an unknown fact that games, especially AAA games, are costing a lot more to make right now, especially with the higher fidelity of the games that the consumers want.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think it's a mix of higher production costs, you know, publishers seeing like a slice of the market they want to get, and which is why we're seeing like a transition of games to become a service model, like with the success of like Destiny and to some extent Destiny 2, which kind of shows publishers that these kind of games are kind of like the future, quote unquote. So yeah, which is why I think we're seeing this shift right now. But the good thing is that like for indies like us, right, we're just a 3-man team, right? We don't need the game to make millions of dollars for us to keep going. Like
It'd be cool if it did.
Yeah, obviously, right? Who wouldn't want like $1 million right now? Yeah, I know I would, but yeah, I mean, we're just a 3-man team, and the way that the way that Cat Quest has performed so far, we're pretty happy with it. I mean, it's done well for us, and we can definitely keep going like a few more years with the money that we've made from Cat Quest. So yeah, we don't need to adopt these games as a service model, but I do kind of understand and see why some publishers are trying to move towards it. I don't agree with it, of course, but I can kind of understand why that's happening.
I honestly think that because of that whole gravitational shift towards games as a service, I think that's why I find a lot more enjoyment, and I find myself going back to indies a lot more, because they are just self-contained experiences that you can play and enjoy and then move on and feel that you had your money's worth and that you had your time worth, and you don't need to keep coming back. I don't think after you beat a game, you need to always return to it. Granted, there's going to be stuff like Rocket League where the whole point of the game is playing online and continually coming back. But like Assassin's Creed and Shadow of War, those are single player experiences. I don't need loot crates and more shit to buy in that. Just let me play the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like coming from Assassin's Creed, coming from all these games, and I just recently like beat Mario Odyssey on the Switch. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been like a huge contrast, right? Like all these games, you get all your costumes from like loot crates and stuff like that. But in Mario, you can just buy it from coins you collect. So and with Mario, you basically it's like you said, you get the game, you get the game that you paid for, right? You just pop down $60. You get the whole game and everything to go with it. There's no microtransactions, there's no loot boxes, and it was a really great experience. And I'm just glad to see there are some publishers out there, some companies that are not really moving to this games as a service model yet. There's still those AAA games that are just buy once and play however much you want. So yeah, I think that's great in my opinion. I hope more games like do continue to like retain that model on. And yeah, because personally, I don't really enjoy the games as a service thing too. I'm exactly like you. I like to play a game for like a couple of weeks, done, move on to another one. Yeah. I hardly go back. I mean, I think the only game I ever went back to play was probably Witcher 3 when all the DLCs came out, because those DLCs were like just so awesome. So yeah.
And The Witcher 3 is in general was just an amazing game. That you didn't need to buy the DLC of that game to play it for 400 hours. You could just play that game forever if you wanted. It's so big. There's so much shit to do. And I think that's the way that if you want to have a big AAA game, I think that's the way to do it. You make sure that there's enough content to keep people engrossed instead of feeling that they got ripped off and they need to pay more money to get more out of the game that they already paid for.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, man. I mean, you don't need to get the DLCs because the base game itself has enough content to last you a long ass time. But because Witcher 3 is such a good game, right? Like Geralt is such a great character. You want to get the DLCs. You want to continue his story. You want to see what he's up to next. You know, you just want a chance to get back into the Witcher 3 universe. So yeah, I think I really think that's great, and I hope more games are like that. But obviously, I understand that like all the big publishers, you know, they like sometimes I don't blame the developers as much because I worked in Koei Tecmo before, so it's a Japanese games company, and sometimes the developers like kind of like we don't really have much of a say when it comes to the high level goals set aside by the higher management and stuff like that. So So yeah, it kind of sucks working in a bigger company with like especially like EA or Activision and stuff like that, because sometimes there's all these goals set up by the higher management, and you just gotta like wing in and try to get things done. So yeah, not so sure about that.
Yeah, the higher ups, they care more about profit than making a quality game sometimes.
Right, yeah, it's all about the money to them,
Yeah.
I guess.
So is that a reason why you branched off on your own and created the Gentlebros with your cohorts?
I guess to a certain extent, we always wanted to make our own games. So although it's cool to work on like the next Dynasty Warriors or the next Fatal Frame, the next Day of Life, stuff like that, it does just feel like a normal job after a while. Like it's cool for the first few months, right? Like you see your stuff in trailers and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I finally made it. You know, I find my stuff is finally on YouTube and stuff like that. So, but after a while, it just starts to feel like another job. You start to feel like you're just a small gear in a huge machine, right? You're not really doing the thing that you went into the industry to do. Like for us, we always wanted to make games, our own games, and working in a AAA company for a long period of time, it just kind of not does that for you after a while. So because of that, I mean, we had a chance to branch out, and we took that chance, and yeah, 2 years later we are here today with Cat Quest. So yeah, I think it's been it was a really eventful journey, and yeah, it was fun, definitely much more fun than working in a company, for sure. Yeah.
So it was one of those things where you wanted to create your own experiences instead of just being responsible for like rendering the hair on an orc.
Yeah, for sure. I still remember. Yeah, I still remember. Like my job in Koei during one of the projects was just like reducing the polygons on someone's head. So I was doing that for like weeks. It was not fun. Yeah.
That's not fun, really? I don't know. That sounds like a blast, man.
Oh, is that right? Okay, then you can go ahead and do it then.
So
But
what
yeah,
was the
yeah.
record? What was the highest number of polygons that you reduced?
That I think I reduced something from 200,000 triangles to I think about 4,000. I think.
Damn.
Yeah. I like near the end of that, I literally saw my vision get blurry. I was so scared I was gonna die. I was so afraid that something's gonna happen to me. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. Yeah.
I'm just curious, what was the model that you reduced all the triangles on?
It was a game on the Vita called Toki Den, I think. I'm not sure whether you know about that. Toki Den,
yeah, Toki-Den, same name over here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it was like one of the boss enemies or something like that. I can't remember. Like it's all like a blur right now. Whatever I did in Koei, it's a complete blur that I'm trying to forget. Yeah. So
how does it feel working on a larger production like that to just working on a 3-man team and creating smaller experiences?
So like the feeling working in a AAA company is that you're part of something much greater, right? Like for example, if you're working on Assassin's Creed, right? You're part of Assassin's Creed, a huge brand. So there's definitely that coolness feeling, right? Like you're part of something that is part of like mainstream culture. So that feeling is cool. But you also at the same time you have less say, right? You have less creative input on what you're doing. Most of the time, like I was a CG artist in Koei, so that means I would do all the 3D models and stuff like that. So I would get the concepts from a concept artist. So I would have no say whatsoever on like how the character would look. I would just have to translate that concept into a 3D model to use in the game. So it kind of feels like a production pipeline in some sense. But working on your own title with in just a 3-man team especially, and even better with your friends, right? It's really different. Like everything needs to be created from scratch. Like you have complete total 100% creative input in what the game is. Like if you want your character to wear a hat, you just go ahead. If everyone's fine with that, yeah, you can give your character a hat. You know, that kind of, like even small things like that. It's way more fun. You feel way more ownership in the game that you're making. So in that sense, it's really different, but it's also much more scary, right? Like in a bigger company, there's more people working on it. There's more people to cover your back if something goes wrong. But in a 3-man team, if something does go wrong, it's just the three of you. It's just the few of you to kind of right the wrong. And yeah, like being a small company, we're constantly worried that we won't be able to like fund our burn rate for the next few months. Like how long can we stay afloat? With the revenue that we earned. But yeah, obviously working in a bigger company, you're not worried about that. You're just more worried about not getting fired, right? You're definitely going to get the next pay from the months that go on. So it's that feeling of stability compared to the feeling of it being much more fun and much more creative. Yeah.
Do you think it was a good trade-off giving up the stability just to have that creative freedom?
I like now, if you were to ask me now, I would say yes. Like I don't like thinking back. I really don't regret starting out as a company, but I do remember the day I left I still remember the day that we left our jobs, right, from Koei. I personally could not sleep the whole night. I was like, holy shit, did I make the right decision? Like, I literally.
What if I just showed up tomorrow? Will they say anything if I just showed up tomorrow, like nothing happened?
I think they'll tell me to get out. You left already. Right? But yeah, I personally was so scared. Like, I had never started. I had never started my own company before, so I think it was more the sense of like the sense of not knowing what's ahead. It's kind of like you're in a dark forest at night. You don't know what's over the next corner and stuff like that. So there were a lot of things that we had to learn. Like starting your own company isn't just making your own game, right? There's other stuff you need to worry about, like taxes, right? Like employing people,
like paperwork and shit.
yeah, exactly. The accounts, right? Accounting, right? We never learned all that, So it was all new to us, and yeah, those things obviously, what you don't know obviously scares you. So yeah, I mean, right now, 2 years later, we know all this now, so it's much easier for us. But there's still that sense of fear, right? Like we don't know how the industry will move, like how the industry will look like 2 years from now, or like 1 year from now, or maybe even 6 months from now, right? Since the industry moves so fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's that definite sense of fear, but no regrets at all. It's way more fun what we're doing right now. Yeah, I mean, heck, I can wake up at like 11 a.m. every day. I don't need to report to work at like 8 a.m. anymore. That kind of thing. I can sleep whenever I want. Do whatever I want. So yeah, the sense of freedom is really awesome.
Nice. Yeah, you could wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning and then do a stupid show like mine.
No, this isn't a stupid show. Come on.
Oh no, it's a very stupid show. Don't give us more credit than we deserve.
And I'm really glad to be part of this stupid show then.
I'm glad to have you on this stupid show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah. Man. So let's go back to Cat Quest sure. A little bit. Something I really enjoyed with the game was the equipment, where every time that you get new equipment, if it's not just like, oh, I got a better sword, let me compare it to the other sword I have. It's like, I got this sword and now I got another one of that sword and now it's just a more powerful sword.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of like if you get the same sword again, that sword levels up, right? So yeah, that was a mechanic that we took from our previous game Slashy Hero, because we didn't like the fact that like in Diablo or stuff like that, you get like a weapon and it would immediately be useless 5 minutes later because you'll find something better, right? So we wanted something that would make every item you get feel special and useful, because like even if it's not a weapon that you use right now, it would level up something else in your inventory. So it will always feel it wouldn't feel wasted, and that was what we wanted to do, and kind of at the same time, like some of the loot that you get is randomized to a certain extent, so you never know which of your items would level up to a certain extent, and that forces the player to actually equip different weapons that he would not normally equip. So like for example, like personally, when I play RPGs, I like to be a tanker. I like to be a close range fighter. So I would never ever try to experiment with other items in a sense. But like for our game, we wanted the fact that we wanted a way for players to do that. Like we wanted to encourage but not force them to do that. So if you would get like a more powerful magic item that totally outclasses your current physical weapon, right? You'll be encouraged to try it out. And at the same time, because now it's a magic based weapon, you would want to try out the magic system in Cat Quest. So we wanted that sense of trying out new things for the player, and also the player like seeing what kind of items he has on hand at the moment and seeing what kind of cool configuration he could come up with that. So that was our main goal, and we kind of hope we achieved it with the game. Yeah.
I think you guys have done a great job with the game. Like I said, I poured way too much time into the game than I probably should have, considering how much stuff we actually have to review on the show. And This is just something I bought on my own. I'm like, oh my God, I've spent way too much. Like, what have I done? And
I mean, yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
And I'm very much looking forward to playing more of it and then, replaying it when it comes out on the Xbox.
Yeah, which it should soon, like maybe early next year. But yeah, I mean, we have a couple of updates coming out at the end of this month and at the end of December, which should all be in the Xbox version at launch. So that will be pretty cool for Xbox players. Like,
what kind of updates are you looking for? Just like new items in there, new quests? Is it going to be like any kind of paid DLC or anything?
Oh no paid DLC. It's all going to be free updates.
It's all going to be loot crates.
No, never. No, it's going to be. We're adding a new mode at the end of November. So it's called Meal Game. Basically, we redesigned all the enemy spawns and positions for this new mode, and we allow players to replay the game with different modifiers. So you can try to play the game again at level 1, or try to beat the game at level 1, or try to beat the game without wearing any armor or equipment, and the whole game would just gear itself to make that playthrough fun. So that should be interesting to play. Like it's basically a new experience because if you can't level up, right, you have to put more emphasis on your magic or your equipment. So that changes the way you look at the game and how you play the game. So far it's been in beta test on Steam, and yeah, the response we've got is pretty good. So yeah, we think this update might be quite fun for players. And at the end of December, we're adding a story update to the game. So we're adding a new quest line that would tie into Christmas. So yeah, we're looking forward to that as well. Yeah, so it's like Cat Christmas, right? What would it be like? So that's what's happening in December. Yeah.
Is that going to be a time limited kind of thing where after like a month after Christmas the quest goes away, or is it just going to be a permanent addition?
Yeah, it's going to be a permanent edition. It's not going to be like an event. Yeah, so it's going to be that any player from then on who downloads or buys the game would have access to that Christmas quest. I mean, yeah, obviously it's not going to be as significant since you're not playing it in Christmas, but yeah, it's still going to be a great quest. Yeah.
Are you guys going to be doing that for other holidays through the year?
We'll have to see. Like, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, we really want to start on our next project because we have a great idea for it. But yeah, I guess we'll play by ear. If there's enough demand, we might want to add one more story update after the Christmas one. But yeah, as of trying to hit every festive holiday, we don't have a definite plan for that yet.
You mentioned a future project. Is that something you guys are talking about yet, or is it still like too early in the game to reveal anything?
Oh, it's way too early to reveal anything, but it's definitely shaping up to be quite cool. So yeah, do look forward to that. We'll be like sharing more information when we have it on our Facebook pages and our Twitter and stuff like that.
Do you guys have platforms in mind for that?
Oh, definitely the Xbox.
I just wasn't sure if it was going to be like a mobile focused title or if it would make it to consoles.
Oh, definitely. We're gonna try to do everything again. All consoles again, even though we are really dying trying to do that right now. But yeah, it's been doing well for us. So we definitely want to try to recreate what we've done with Cat Quest. Like at least try to bring it on every console on the market. Yeah, and yeah, we're using this engine called Unity. So Unity makes that process slightly easier. So but right now, yeah, we've definitely learned all our mistakes from developing Cat Quest. Like when we started Cat Quest, we only ever intended it to be on Steam and mobile. We never ever thought we'd have the chance to bring it to the Switch or the PS4 and stuff like that. So that kind of made certain things difficult for us because we had not planned for these consoles from the beginning. so yeah, for our next game, we will definitely do that foundational code from the start, which will make it much easier for us later on. Yeah.
So it'll be designed from the ground up as something with consoles in mind.
In a sense, if you've brought something to Steam, it's already kind of designed for consoles in mind. So what I mean is the code, like the technical side of it.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So like with now that we know that we want to bring it to consoles, we'll definitely write some code at the beginning to allow for that, for sure. Yeah.
So one of the other things that you mentioned was these modifiers that you're looking at introducing into the game. You mentioned like no level ups, or you're stuck at level 1, stuff like that. Are you guys looking into any like off the wall crazy kind of modifiers? Like, big head mode is a common one of like, hey, that's a goofy thing.
Also like cosmetic modifiers. So not really, but we do have modifiers that make the game easier as well. So we have a modifier that allows players to carry forward their levels and armor and weapons to the start of the game. So you're definitely going to have an easier time at the start, where like if you're like level 99 already, you have the most powerful armor, then you can just basically steamroll through the new mode and just have
beat
fun.
The shit out of everything.
Beat the holy crap out of everything in the game. Like you see the dragon, one hit kill, so there's that. There are those modifiers as well. So yeah, we have modifiers that increase the challenge for the players who want it. We also have modifiers that just allow players to just steamroll through the game and just have fun with it, for sure. Yeah. And the beauty of this system is we can always just add more modifiers in the future. Like we can release an update with a big hit modifier, like you said, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys might have a cosmetic modifier where it just changes everything to dogs instead of cats.
That might be quite tough, but yeah, that's
or like change the swords to like a giant sausage or something crazy.
That would be interesting, yeah. Like maybe make everything funny, right? Like change everything to something interesting or something. Yeah.
Or I know like ratings boards wouldn't let this happen, but like some kind of crazy like hyper violence code that just like every time you kill an enemy, it's just blood splatters everywhere. I know because it's an E-rated game, that wouldn't really work.
Yeah, but so that's the funny thing, right? Like our game, we've already sent it for the ESRB ratings and all the different ratings, right? But like we're not sure how it works if we issue an update that like just adds like a whole lot of gore and violence. Like we need to send it back to the ESRB to be rated again. So like I'm not sure about that yet, and I just thought of it actually. So yeah, might be interesting. I'm not sure, but no, we're definitely not adding gore to Cat Quest.
That'll be the sequel. That'll be in Cat Quest 16.
Cat Quest 16.
That'll have the hyper violence.
yeah.
So is Cat Quest something you could see becoming a franchise? Could we see a Cat Quest 2 sometime in the future?
Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, we created Cat Quest with the mind of creating an IP behind it. Like, we definitely want to be able to create more games in the universe, which is why we came out with the whole concept of the world and stuff like that. So they aren't just cats, right? There are dogs as well. There are mice. There are even bears and stuff like that. So the mice are kind of like pirates who live on the sea, and the bears live in the north where it's all cold and they're all like polar bears and shit. And like no one knows much about the bears, so they're like this mysterious race. So so there's this whole world that we've created, and we definitely want to expand on it with every game that we make. So like the Cat Quest games could become anything really. Like there's enough material in it that could become like a comic or like a TV series or like an animated cartoon, stuff like that. Like we made sure that the Cat Quest universe could be expanded in such ways, and we definitely want to work towards those goals in the future, for sure. Yeah, definitely expand on everything that we've created so far.
Nice. So if this takes off, I'm gonna be looking forward to some Cat Quest plushies showing up in GameStop eventually.
Maybe, yeah. If we can get the whole pipeline in place, yeah, for sure. I mean, plushies has always been our number one goal. Like from the start, when we came out with the idea for Cat Quest, like one of the things our team members said was like, "I want plushies." So like, yeah, definitely we want to try to get that. We are already talking to a few like manufacturing companies to see how it could go. But
Nice.
but there's so much we don't know. Like we've recently heard like some China-based plushie manufacturers, like sometimes they would take your design like and manufacture some like a huge batch on their own and sell it in their own market. So we're like, holy shit, are these things even possible? You know, like so we're yeah, we're like kind of looking at all the possible ways it could go wrong, and to make sure we don't repeat some of the mistakes of like some other people made in the past. So yeah, it's gonna take us a while to get things going, but definitely at plushies, merchandise, like even t-shirts, mugs and stuff like that. It's all stuff we are considering right now. For sure.
Nice. I know a lot of companies have been working with groups like limited run games and signature games and stuff like that. If you could have a dream collector's edition of Cat Quest, what kind of goodies would you include?
Oh, I would definitely include. Okay, so I bought the Skyrim collector's edition, I think a few years back. So that came with like that dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely want something like that, like kind of like a figurine with the cat, and maybe like a dragon, something huge, something cool. It would definitely come with a plushie for sure. Yeah, and a Cat Quest themed box for the game. Like it would be so cool if like the box itself had like cat ears or something like that. Probably like a. Actually, we don't really have much concept art for the game, thinking about it, so we can't really do a concept art book. But yeah, all those things I mentioned, I'll definitely want them in. Stickers for sure. Yeah, I think right now you can get stickers, I think, like physical stickers for the PlayStation 4 box version, I believe. Yeah, so that will be so that's kind of already happening right now.
Oh, is there going to be a physical version of the game?
Yeah, I think there is a physical version for the PlayStation 4. Yeah, I think
nice.
it's already yeah. Well, only for the PS4 though, because we partnered with a publisher, and I think they only managed to get the PS4 box version out. Like we were considering a Switch box version as well, but I think the cartridges, they were telling us that the cartridges itself were way too expensive to keep the game at the price point that we wanted to keep it at. Because we're selling the game on the Switch store for I think $12.99 USD, and I think it would have been impossible to price the retail version at that price. I mean,
Yeah,
the box
I'd imagine a retail version would have to be like $30 on the Switch.
Yeah,
so many games come out on the Switch, they're like $10 more expensive than anywhere else because of the cartridge costs.
Yeah, exactly. Like the manufacturing costs are insane on the Switch for some reason. And yeah, it's so much cheaper to do a box copy on the PlayStation 4. I'm not sure why. I think it's just the disc. Maybe discs are just cheaper to manufacture or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know I'm sure you guys wouldn't be able to do anything on Xbox because they have some kind of ridiculous manufacturing requirement where you have to make so many copies, and for many indies it's just not feasible to print that many copies of a game.
Oh,
So-
I'm actually I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, if that's really the case, then yeah, it'll be tough. Because if Microsoft like has like a 1,000 minimum quantity rule or something, is definitely not feasible for small studios like us. Because the base cost will be way too much for sure. Yeah.
I know that's why the company Limited Run Games, like they only do stuff on PlayStation, and then I think they're starting to do one or two games on the Switch as well. But they've tried in the past to work something out with Xbox, but the print requirements are just not worth it, I guess. So that they're just not sitting on tons of stock afterwards.
Yeah. That's the problem as well, right? Like stock and stuff. Like the great thing about digital is that you don't keep stock. So that's great. But yeah, I think even with the PS4 version we have now, like one of the things that we had to worry about was like if we like how much to manufacture. Like if we were to manufacture like 1,000 copies, are we able to sell all 1,000 copies, or like how much of it would be left unsold and we will need to keep as stock and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely more things to worry about. But I kind of feel like the good thing is that, or at least what we've been hearing or seeing from our fans, that a lot of people have been requesting for like retail box versions of the game. So I guess there are still collectors out there, even though digital is kind of like the in thing right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so that's great. I mean, hopefully physical games don't go away anytime soon. But I think it may see like a shift into like more collector territory. Like most people will buy a physical game because they want to collect it and hold it in their hands rather than having something that's just digital.
Yeah. I'm the same way. If, you know, people who've watched us on Mixer when we do our streams, they can always see tons of shit that I have on my shelves behind me of just collector's editions that I'm picking up. So I'll say, if there's ever a Cat Quest collector edition, no matter what is in there, it just needs to come in an oversized brown cardboard box so that your actual cats can play with it too.
Oh, that's genius, man. That's genius. Yeah.
Include a bag of catnip in there and you're set, man.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, put some catnip, put some cat toys inside, you know, for your cats to play. Yeah, it's awesome, man. Yeah.
See, I have some good ideas every now and then. So I know the game has been out on console for just about a week now. Is there any indication of how well it's performing so far?
We haven't got the results for the PS4 version yet, but the Switch one has been doing surprisingly good, I think. In our opinion, like we're number 5 on the bestseller list in Japan.
Oh wow!
I think we're like number 9 in Australia. I think we were 10. We were ranked 10 in EU, Europe and North America like a few days ago. So I haven't got the latest results yet, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Like Cat Quest is up there with all the big titles like Mario and like stuff like that in the bestsellers list. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool to hear. I know the Switch seems to have become like this indie paradise lately, and it seems it kind of feels like any indie game that releases on the Switch is guaranteed to do fairly decently, at least anymore.
Yeah. I'm not sure why. I think it's partly maybe the people who own the Switch, maybe they like playing indie games more, or like, I'm not sure, maybe it's the portable nature of it. It kind of lends itself much better to indie titles. Like with the PS4 or the Xbox, when I think of it, I kind of think of like, I want to sit down on my couch, you know, kind of play like a great AAA title. So yeah, I don't think I've ever played an indie game on PS4, but I play a lot of indie games on my PC, and recently I've been playing a lot of indie games on my Switch too, like Stardew Valley and stuff like that. Yeah.
It feels like I play more indie games than anything else anymore. It's indie games and Rock Band for me.
Oh, you're still playing Rock Band? Seriously?
Oh God. I just today, because the new DLC that came out today with Radiohead's Karma Police was the 2,400th song that I have in Rock Band 4.
Holy shit. You have so many songs.
It's literally everything available to buy right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I used to play a lot of Rock Band with my friends last time. Yeah. Like, it was really fun. But somehow I think we just kind of stopped. I'm not sure why. but yeah. I still have all like the plastic guitars and the drums in my home somewhere. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, sometimes I bring it out, you know, to remember the good old days of Rock Band. but yeah.
Yeah, I still love my Rock Band. I play it every week. I pick up all the DLC every week, and I have a problem, I guess.
I don't think liking Rock Band is a problem, but yeah, it's cool, man.
Very true.
So what's your favorite like song in Rock Band? Like favorite song to play? And like which instrument do you main? Yeah.
I mainly play bass anymore just because my ring finger on my left hand that I would use to, you know, hit the fret buttons, I fucked it up a couple of years ago, and my fingers just don't move the same way anymore. So I switched over to bass since it's not as intensive.
Right. Yeah, you don't need to do that whammy thing, right?
Yeah. And then favorite song. Technically, my favorite song all time is not in Rock Band 4 because it was a Rock Band Network song, and that is Perry Grip's Nom 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 Nom.
I see.
No lie. favorite song to play in Rock Band, and I hope to God it somehow finds its way back to Rock Band 4, whether they start re-releasing stuff from Rock Band Network or if they could figure out a way to make it work. In Rock Band 4, either Lordy's Hard Rock Hallelujah or on guitar, I really love Volbeat's A Warrior's Call. I think those are...
Oh.
And then Muse Hysteria. That's just like the best bass song in the game, I think.
Wow, cool. Yeah, I can really tell you're really passionate about the game. Yeah.
I have a problem, man. Like, I've had people from Harmonix on the show 10 times already.
Oh,
I
because
own,
you like it so much, right?
Yeah, I own all the DLC. We've done contests with them. I love Rock Band, man.
Yeah.
Rock Band and now Cat Quest.
Oh, thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. Thanks. It'd be great. No, so now I see why you like rhythm games. Now I know why. Because of Rock Band, right?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see your rhythm game with no rhythm.
It's not going to turn out. I guess we need to partner with Harmonix or something. You know, make
that'd be cool. Cat Quest DLC, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So what about you? What are you playing these days? I know earlier you mentioned that you just beat Mario Odyssey. What else are you enjoying these days?
Right, so I'm still kind of playing Mario, trying to get all the moons, right? There's I think 850 moons to get or something. I'm pretty
something
close.
Ridiculous.
Something ridiculous. Like, it's going to take you a few years to get it all or something. But yeah, I'm getting close, so I want to try to get that all done. After that, I want to pick up. I've been playing a bit of Witcher 3 again because I got a new PC. So yeah, my previous PC was really trash. So I was playing Witcher 3 at medium settings, 30 frames per second. So now I'm finally seeing Witcher 3 at ultra at 60 frames. So it's a good chance to go through the game again. I definitely want to pick up Wolfenstein 2. I kind of missed it when it came out. So I heard great things about the game. And I definitely want to play that too. Yeah, so playing a lot of games on my Switch actually. Still playing Splatoon 2. Love it.
Nice.
Splatoon 2 is really good. And I don't really like all these multiplayer games that much. I don't even when I play Destiny, I wouldn't really play the Crucible and stuff like that. But with Splatoon, I'm like, holy shit, this is so fun. I don't know how they did it. They made a multiplayer game that appeals to people that don't like multiplayer games. So I think that's really, really cool. It's just so fun to splat people in Splatoon. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever put down that game anytime soon. It will definitely be something that I still play on and off for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more Witcher 3 again. Yeah, so yeah.
And anything next year that you're excited about?
Next year, is God of War coming out next year? I'm not so sure.
Supposedly?
But yeah.
Who knows?
Supposedly, right.
It feels like Sony announced it 4 years ago, and they're just like, hey, this is a game that exists. When are we going to play it? Fuck if we know.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Sony, right? They like to announce games super early, and then the games only come out like 2 to 3 years later. And
they announce all these huge titles at E3, and everyone's like, oh, Sony won E3 again. And then the winter comes, and it's like, where's all those awesome games Sony was talking about? They're exactly. 3 years from now still.
Yeah, which is why I think Nintendo is doing a better job. It's they announced Mario, they showed a good chunk of Mario at E3 or doing one of their Nintendo Treehouse things, and just a few months later it's out, and that's awesome. And yeah, but I think for Sony, I'm kind of looking forward to Detroit. I think that the game looks pretty cool. They recently released a trailer for it that kind of shows how that hostage situation played out, and I thought that was very, very cool looking. Like the music and the whole cinematography of the whole sequence was really well done. So I'm looking forward to picking that up. I'm not sure when that game releases. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm hoping to play more games on my Switch. So not sure if I should pick up Skyrim again for the 4th time. But
yeah, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Oh, did you pick it up?
No, I'm picking it up tomorrow though.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it releases. It's already Friday there. It's Thursday for me. The game comes out on Friday. So yeah, in the morning I'll be at Best Buy grabbing Skyrim because it's fucking Skyrim and it has Zelda items in it and amiibo support. So yes, I'm buying the fucking thing again.
And it's like Skyrim on the go, right? And that's
Yeah,
like never
portable
been done
Skyrim.
before.
How do you
Like, holy
turn down portable Skyrim?
I know, right? I'm like, I super want to get it, but like on one hand, I've played the game so many times already. Like I've beaten Skyrim I think 3 times on like 3 different consoles, I think. And I can't imagine playing it again. But yeah, it's
But you
Skyrim
will.
portable. Yeah, but I will. Damn you, Skyrim. Damn you, Bethesda. Damn you.
It has amiibo support. How are you going to say no to that?
I know, right? Damn the amiibos, man. Damn it. But
Now we just need a Cat Quest amiibo.
Ah, shit, that would be the dream. That would be the dream, man. I hope. I should just email Nintendo, ask it. We need to ask them how possible Cat Quest amiibo would be.
Hit up Yacht Club Games. They've done the Shovel Knight amiibo. They're doing another Shovel Knight 3-pack. So I'm sure they'll have some answers on how you could go about doing it.
Oh yeah. I did try to email Yacht Club once, like asking them some stuff, and they were pretty friendly. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, man. Definitely try to ask them how to get an amiibo on the Switch. That'd be cool. Yeah,
that would be cool as hell. But anyway, I know we've been chatting for quite a while. I don't want to take up all of your day. No worries, man. It has been fantastic having you on the show. A really, really fun chat. I love the game. I absolutely cannot wait for it to hit the Xbox. I'm thrilled that it's gotten worked out and it's going to be happening. So for all of our listeners, give us all the details. Where is the game? How much is it? How can you get it? How can people stay in touch with you? Give us all the info.
Right. So Cat Quest right now is available on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, iOS, Android, and Steam. It's $12.99 on consoles and Steam. And yeah, it's a really fun game. So do try to check it out. You can follow us on Twitter at the Gentlebros, and you can like our Cat Quest Facebook page to get all the latest information on the game, and like whatever updates we'll be pushing or whatever new stuff we're up to. Yeah, that will be the best place to get the information. So yeah, I mean it was really fun having this chat with you, and yeah, it's great.
It's been a blast. Again, thanks for coming on. Do you have any final words to end this?
Final words. Oh man, I think I just did those final words. So yeah, I mean, check Cat Quest out. It's a fun game, and you won't regret it. Hopefully, you won't regret it. So yeah, for the cats. Yeah.
Oh man, well thanks again to Desmond for coming on and chatting about Cat Quest. Awesome game, but plenty more to do on the show. And to help me out with all of it, Cole Martin, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What did you think of all that Cat Quest talk?
It sounded very interesting.
I know. I really enjoyed it. It's really, really cool on the Switch. I really, really, really hope something works out and it comes to Xbox, or all my work will have been for naught.
All games should come to Xbox, always.
They should. Everything. My Little Pony.
I'd be down for that. Although, maybe not until after I buy the kids their own Xbox. That way they leave mine the fuck alone. But if it were an easy 1,000, I'd probably play My Little Pony. I've been grinding the fuck out of clowns and sheep lately, so why not?
Nice. I like that game.
It's one of those that you can play early in the morning when you don't have the facilities to play a normal game. You can just sit and make it rain on your sheep and you're fine.
Make it rain. I like candy games. I really do. I think they put out really cute and entertaining games. I know they have Aces of the Luftwaffe is hitting the Switch this week, and I think we'll be covering that next week on the show, or maybe this week. I don't fucking know. But hopefully that makes it to the Xbox as well. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, that would be good.
But well, yeah, a lot to talk about. A lot of news happened this week. A lot of crazy shit went down. I'm gonna guess the biggest thing from the past week has been I don't know what other way to put it, shitstorm surrounding EA.
That's a pretty sufficient term, yeah.
Surrounding EA, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think this might be the catalyst where loot boxes either start being reformed in a major way, or that they just start disappearing more and more. For the people who somehow missed all of this news this week, reports were coming out now that people have, the 10-hour trial with EA Access for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and then the deluxe edition released on Tuesday. People have been putting time into it, and it is pretty much unanimous that the loot boxes and the microtransactions in this game are a massive detriment to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
originally it was going to be like an insane amount of hours to earn enough credits to unlock some of the other characters, but they did reduce that.
Yeah,
but it's still
what was it? It was originally it was originally like 60,000 in-game credits to unlock like the hero crates, including people like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, like these integral characters in the Star Wars universe that you could play as freely in the first game, were gated behind microtransactions or an insane amount of grinding. Before any of the adjustments went down, people were figuring out that you would have to play 40 hours of game time, not like real time of playing, a match and then waiting for shit to like actual in-game match time, 40 hours to unlock a single character.
How long does a match typically last? And because I've not played I'm not a Star Wars person, and so I haven't played Battlefront, so I'm not familiar with like the length of time of a match in the first place. But
I think a lot of it comes down to how well you perform. I know it feels like it's the same style of how you earn credits and, based on time spent as the Garden Warfare games, how they have the Garden Ops where, if you wipe someone out immediately, you don't get that many credits. But if you have a long game and you're on offense and you push all the way and you conquer it, you get a shitload of credits because it was a long game and you accomplished everything.
Yeah.
Where the shorter games, you don't get much credits from them. And I think it's the same with Star Wars. I haven't played it, so I don't know how severe everything is aside from like the internet buzz, and like the backlash has been insane. Last I saw, Battlefront 2, the user score on Metacritic is 0.9.
Wow. That is a lot of hate. That's the funny thing about the internet. When the internet decides to hate you, you are officially hated. And there is little you can do for redemption. Like, EA at this point could stand up and be like, hey, no more microtransactions ever. We're taking them out of all of our existing games and our future ones. And people would still be like, yeah, whatever, fuck you guys anyway. Because now they have the target. EA has been on the receiving end of the internet's hate for quite some time. I mean, at one point they were rated the worst game company ever anyway.
Well, they were voted the worst company, period, for like 2-3 years in a row, something like that, which when you look at shit like BP, Enron, like these horrid companies, like saying EA is the worst company in the world because of, online passes and microtransact, like that's a bit too far.
Yeah. I think they've tried up until this point. They had tried to do a lot to reform that image, and I think that's one of the things that led to us getting EA Access. I say us, that's on Xbox. Sorry, PlayStation people. Y'all are shit out of luck.
PlayStation people don't listen to this show. What are you talking about?
Right. EA Access is an incredible service, and I think it was one of the efforts to just try to like make things over. Like, look, we're really sorry. Give us a small pittance a month and you can play all our shit. And that was a good idea. And now it's basically just, flushed down the toilet because microtransactions everywhere. Yay.
Yeah, there was a legitimate stretch of time where EA seemed to be, turning a new leaf, becoming a better company. They put a lot more focus on unique IPs and, fresh game experiences. Yeah. There was a time where, they were partnered up with Brutal Legend, with, Mirror's Edge came out, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. They were partnered up with Rock Band, Alice, Madness Returns. There were all of these unique games that came from EA, and they were gaining a lot of favor, but some of them just didn't sell well. And it seems like EA was like, well, trying to be good for gamers didn't work. Let's go back to our shitty, scummy ways. And instead of online passes, because that's a fad that faded quickly, thankfully, it's all coming down to microtransactions and loot crates and all this other shit that's just pissing everybody off. And
Yeah.
let's be fair, EA is not the only one doing this. They're just the most, visual one right now. And a lot of it is because of Star Wars. People complain about, Overwatch and Rocket League. Oh, well, they have loot crates. Why isn't that a big deal? And I think the biggest difference is that shit is all cosmetic. You're getting skins, you're getting voice lines, you're getting, just random shit that doesn't affect the gameplay, where with Star Wars Battlefront 2, that affects the gameplay. Like the cards that you unlock from the loot crates make you a better character in the game. They make you stronger, they give you better abilities. It is pay to win. There's no other way to look at it as pay to win. They're like, oh, well, you can unlock this stuff through normal gameplay. No one has to spend any money. No, you don't have to. But if someone out there drops $1,000 on the game and unlocks all of these super powerful cards right away, you're not going to stop them.
Yeah.
And
the Division added loot crates, and I think it was 1.6 or 1.7. But even still, it was just a cosmetic thing. And even though it was just cosmetic, you could get fragments to put together a key and unlock that shit. It was easy. They were just everywhere. So even still, you didn't have to spend money. Yeah. And if you're in a position where you have to spend money to just play the game that you've already plunked down $60 to $100 on,
it's disgusting.
It's easy to understand why people were pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I tend to look at loot crates and stuff and go, so I'm broke. I wouldn't have bought that shit anyway. But, and so I don't care that they're there because I know they're out of range. But if it was a case of I can't play the game on par with other people because they have money and I don't, that's problematic.
Yeah.
So I can see why people are pissed. I don't think it should ever get to a point where you're pissed enough that you're sending people death threats.
The funny thing, that was a news story that came out during the week that someone from EA was getting, multiple death threats, tons of calls to violence against him. And of all people, Kotaku did some digging.
That got squirrely too.
Yeah, apparently this guy who was claiming all these death threats may not have actually been an employee at EA. And even EA was like, yeah, we don't know who that guy is.
That's not to say, I don't think that discredits that he got the death threats, because the guy did put on that he was an employee of EA, and we've seen in the past, EA, it was EA that publishes Mass Effect, right? Mm-hmm. And so we saw in the past where somebody got pointed out as being a person responsible for the facial animations, even though she didn't work there, or it wasn't her job or whatever. She got a shit ton of hate.
Yeah, I think they were attacking the writer instead of like it's stupid, but this was an easy way for EA to be like, yeah, he works with us. You people are disgusting. And they're just like, nah, we don't know him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So props to EA on that for kind of being honest on that. But,
I the whole thing with threats being made against, developers and journalists and stuff, it happens. I just hate that. I don't want it to be lessened because somebody was faking.
Yeah.
Because that shit does happen. It is an issue. And this guy may very well have got threats, and even though he doesn't work there, just because he was pretending like he did.
Yeah.
And, I hate that there's the potential for the serious issue to get swept under the rug because somebody was fucking around.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing is just fucked up in every possible way. I know Belgium, the country of Belgium, is legitimately looking into whether or not the loot boxes in Battlefront are legally considered gambling.
Yeah.
And EA is like, oh, well, you always get something of value from them and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's still, you are paying something for a risk of getting something you may want or the risk of getting garbage. That is just straight up gambling.
I had that problem with Rocket League's their Halloween event, because there were obviously better items in there. They're all cosmetic still, but you didn't have a choice of what you could get out of the box. or you didn't get even like multiple items and then you pick one or what have you. It was just good luck.
Yeah.
You know, and you can only buy 3, or you can only get 3 of the keys for free after you've played a shit ton. And then after that, we want your money. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, my initial understanding was, oh, you could get, like, 3 keys a week or whatever, because this was a longer spanned event. And then it turned out, oh, no, you get 3 for the whole event. And once you use those up, which you will in your first couple days, fuck you. You know, and at the same time, I was like, that sucks, because I'm one of those people that wants all the shit for everything. And there were things that I just couldn't even try to get, but I have, like, 5 of the Reaper gold bombs. I mean... 3. I got 3. Because that's all and you can't trade to get rid of your spares, and you can't trade them even in the in-game trading, and you're just like,
there's a bunch of shit I don't like. If they're going to make it so you can't trade or you can't scrap them for in-game whatever, they should not be allowed to give you duplicates. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I have a lot of Reapers. Goal explosions. So
but even still, it comes down to the fact that that's all cosmetic. It has zero effect on the actual gameplay. It has zero effect on someone's performance in the game. It just gives you, you know, a cool looking hat or a cool looking exhaust display, or, you know, you said the goal explosion. That has zero effect on gameplay.
It does boil down to, you know,
you're going to have to muzzle the dog.
Yeah. Hold on a moment.
I'm sick. I don't feel like going back and editing shit this episode.
Really? Sheesh. David's not here to keep them entertained. But, yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's just all cosmetics, and it has zero effect on the gameplay, and I think that is the biggest difference with Battlefront and why it's getting so much backlash. I think it does highlight that the gambling aspect of it, though. Like there are people who are really intent on collecting all those items and would sit and dump, you know, $2 over and over and over again trying to get the one item that they want. And I think it was pretty damning too. You could have 9,999 of the crates, but only 3 keys. Yeah.
So
even if you have 9,000, even if you have 9,999 crates, there's no guarantee that the one thing you might want will be in any of those.
Right. It's just cross your fingers and hope for the best.
I would rather
That's why they leave out 9,999.
I would rather just pay money and get what I want instead of this gambling bullshit. And you know, we're grown-ups. We have an understanding of, well, this is a gamble. It's, you know, we don't know what we're going to get. But a lot of these games, like Star Wars, kids are going to play Star Wars. T rating aside, kids are going to play Star Wars because it's fucking Star Wars. Kids want to play, I want to be Boba Fett and I want to, you know, shoot Luke Skywalker in the fucking throat or whatever. But, you know, those kids aren't going to understand that, you know, they pay real money and they might get something they want. They might not get something they want. Maybe daddy's credit card is on file and they just buy $100 worth of crates. Yeah. And, you know, that is a problem.
That reminds me of Plague Inc. There's like you know how they have like the fake news titles that come across? Mm-hmm. And one of them is like the EA CEO's son spends like $6 billion on microtransactions.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I mean, we've all seen those news stories where it's like, this kid just racked up $3,000 in credit card bills because he was buying FIFA packs or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, even my kids have accidentally bought shit that I didn't know about. Just, it was Minecraft, as a matter of fact. They bought
little
Minecraft
sons of bitches.
And it was just one of those rare cases where she hit the ad and there was money in the account, which is only like a 2-day-a-month span that can happen. But she did, and she bought Minecraft, and then I was like, the fuck, I didn't buy Minecraft. What is this? And then I had to go scouring to figure out which tablet had done it.
So what do you think is the solution to all of this? I mean, I don't think microtransactions or these crates are going to go away completely. My 2 thoughts come down to one, either it's mandated that cosmetics are the only thing you could get in these things, which I'm okay with. Companies need to make money. I'm cool with that. If you want to hide, hats and skins and different colored bullshit, whatever, in these crates, whatever. But I think game progression stuff or things that can affect the actual gameplay must stay out of them completely.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think that there should be some kind of way to earn them in game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I liked how Division did it, where you could just pick up those encryption keys if you just wanted to spend the time grinding to unlock emotes. Because when they initially added the emotes, I was like, yeah, I like them, but I'm not coughing up money. I just don't have it. Sorry. And then they turn around and they're like, okay, well, now there's keys in these boxes and you can get the emotes and you don't have to spend money. And I was like, yeah, I can live with this. No. This is a viable solution because the people that don't want to grind out the time to get the dance moves or whatever can, or the rock, paper, scissors emote can do that. And then people like me that don't care and are already going to put 2,574 hours into, that's not an exaggeration, into the Division can do that. And it works out. So I think as long as there's not anything damaging to the point of, you can't play on the same scale as me because you didn't put money into it, or as long as there's not a case of, nobody can get this unless you cough up $100 for keys or whatever, then it's a little more tolerable. No. It still sucks. I just assume go back to the days where loot boxes weren't a thing ever. Like, agreed. As soon as I see loot boxes in a game, I'm just like, because it's a trap.
My other thought,
easy making trap.
My other thought on loot crates is any game at all, regardless of if it's, Grand Theft Auto or, Rocket League, whatever, any game with loot crates automatically given an M rating for gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you'll see things like Overwatch and Rocket League and Star Wars. They're like, oh man, we're family friendly games. We're going to get an automatic M rating for simulated gambling. Maybe we should rethink what we're doing with this fucking game.
That's not a bad idea. That's actually pretty valid.
I mean, I know anything that has real gambling, like any kind of casino game with real money, is automatically given an AO rating, which that's a kiss of death. And, console games are not allowed to have an AO rating, which I think is fucking stupid the way it is. So giving them an AO rating, I don't think would be just, but I think any game with loot boxes getting an M rating for simulated gambling, I think that should be a thing. I think that'll encourage developers to find better ways to monetize their games, or just not put those fucking things in the game to begin with. But it's a shitty situation all around.
I understand the need for the extra monetization too. If you really think about it, the price of games has been pretty stale. And you can argue that, physical copies aren't as widespread as they used to be. Everybody buys digital. It should be cheaper if it's digital or whatever. But the price has stayed stale. And we've seen a dramatic increase in quality over the last few years. And that's not that kind of increase in that jump for the technology and stuff. That's not free.
Yeah.
And the talent for that needs to be paid for. So I can understand the need for something. Just then, like I said earlier, like it feels like loot boxes have just become this easy trap of, oh, we need more money. What are we going to do? Boxes! Figure out something else. Innovate a little bit and stop just throwing boxes in Call of Duty.
I would rather them go back to season passes. I would rather deal with a season pass and a fragmented user base than microtransactions and loot crates. I'd rather know what I'm getting into than the mystery of, well, what am I going to get?
If I paid for a season pass, I should get all of the content. And you're telling me that, no, this is locked behind. And no, fuck you. I already paid. That's what a season pass is. It's for the season of the game for 1 year after the game is released.
Yeah.
That's its season. Give me my shit.
And not to play devil's advocate on this, but it also comes down to what the season pass is offering. Like, I know a lot of people, they got the ultimate edition of Forza Horizon 3. They're like, oh, well, it comes with the car pass. Why don't I get the expansions included? Well, because you got something called a car pass, which if you read the description explicitly gives you 6 different car packs over the next 6 months. No mention of expansions. That is something completely separate. And I can understand doing that.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well,
everybody wants to jump out and spend 15 extra bucks on a whole new and might only get one map or whatever. So that's understandable. Like, some people just care about having the different cars. Some people care about, having all of the different venues or whatever.
No.
So that's that more a la carte. I don't mind that so much as I think if you get season pass, you should get the car pass and the expansion pass. Like, in my head, season pass is everything.
Well, those were sold separately. There was a car pass and an expansion pass. Those were very much sold separately. Okay. It's just people complain that the Ultimate Edition didn't include the expansion pass. And it never claimed that it would. So people are just like, oh, well, it says Ultimate. That should mean it has everything. No, it shouldn't. It just means that it's the best version out there.
Yeah, I can kind of see the argument. Because, like I said, in my head, season pass means everything. Give me all my shit. So I'm greedy. I gave you my money. Give me everything you've got. So
they were upfront with it. They're like, what does the Ultimate Edition include? It includes the game. It includes access a couple days early. It gives you VIP, which gives you extra money and bonuses in game. And it includes the car pass. What about the expansion pass? Is it on the list of shit included? No, then it's not included.
I mean, if they're upfront about it, you can't be mad. That's your own fault for not researching or
for not knowing how to read.
And I think that's where you let your money do your speaking for you when it comes to a company. If you're not happy that doesn't include the expansion pass, don't buy it. Mm-hmm. Buy the cheaper version and just buy the expansion pass then. Yeah. Or, buy it in separate pieces just to over a course of months or whatever to kind of, I don't know, make yourself feel better about it. I mean, CEOs are going to sit there and count the bottom line, and they don't care if you buy it at a delayed rate or whatever. But if it's about principle for you, find a way to exert yourself over it without being a dick.
Well, hopefully all of this has been worth it to EA and the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of downvotes that they have gotten on Reddit.
Somebody had posted too, trying to pull Disney into it and trying to make and I thought it was kind of funny because I'm pretty sure that since Star Wars is a Disney property, they were probably in on the meetings where the loot boxes were decided on. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
They know they're there. They're aware that they are probably some form of gambling, but as long as the law allows it, they're not going to say anything if it means a couple dollars in their pocket.
I mean, hell, Disney was in talks to buy the Fox Entertainment division just so they could have their Marvel properties back.
Yeah.
Outright buying a massive chunk of Fox. Apparently the talks have stalled, but this can bring us on to some other news of the week. Disney is ending its relationship with Gazillion Games, and Marvel Heroes will be shutting down at the end of December. Some people might remember that we covered that one only a few months ago as Marvel Heroes Omega launched on the Xbox One in July, the very beginning of July, and it's already dying at the end of December.
Wow. So then the servers will go down for it too, or
Yep.
Everything. Wow.
Completely shutting down at the end of December.
Shit.
And that was a free-to-play game with, so many of the characters tied behind either grinding in-game or, well, at least these weren't loot crates, but microtransactions where you would pay $20 to get, a squad of X-Men. Or, the character packs were very, very expensive if you just wanted to outright own them without doing any work in-game.
Yeah.
So people who dumped a lot of money into that game...
They've got nothing.
Got fucked so hard. So hard.
And you can't even sue or anything for that because basically the indies or license agreement, all of them say, we can shut it down whenever we want to. Mm-hmm. So you have no legal leg to stand on for anything like that. You can't have a class action suit or anything.
Yeah. But that still sucks that the game has, a life of 6 months on
6
Xbox
months.
One, and it's dead. So
Yeah.
if you need some achievements, you better hop on that and get what you can.
I mean, unless is there enough time to grind everything if you don't want to cough up?
I don't know, but I
$200?
know one of the achievements is glitched.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah,
'Cause that's definitely never getting fixed.
they apparently have it fixed in-house at Gazillion, but with this going on, who knows if they're ever going to release the patch for it and just go, well, what's the point now?
Yeah.
So it's a bummer to see that getting shut down. I actually enjoyed that game. I really did. And it's a bummer to see it getting killed already.
Yeah, that's surprising because it is a big property too. Like you wouldn't be surprised if a little indie game got delisted or something within 6 months. It's a thing that happens. They either do well or they don't.
No.
But when you have something that's, Marvel branded and it's just gone, because its name alone is going to be enough to pull in a healthy player base.
Mm-hmm.
At least to try it out, even if they like it or not.
No.
But that's pretty quick for something like that.
Yeah. Speaking of shocking news, though, did you hear about Injustice 2's third fighter pack?
No, tell me about it.
Well, they unveiled a trailer for it, which showed, they showed the Atom and Enchantress fighting it out, which, cool. There's two DC heroes I don't really know or care about. But they always have someone cool in these packs as well. And then when the one person got knocked down, you saw a sai stick into a wall. Like the ninja weapon, a sai.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck oh my God. And then they showed figures in the shadows. All 4 Ninja Turtles are going to be in Injustice 2.
What?
All 4 of them. So the Atom, Enchantress, and then all 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to be in Injustice 2 with the third fighter pack.
Wow.
How incredible is that?
That is pretty awesome. I'm pretty pro Ninja Turtles, so that's
Who's your
kick-ass.
favorite?
Michelangelo. He's everybody's favorite. Michelangelo's the best.
Nah. It's all about Leonardo. He's the leader.
Michelangelo's definitely the best.
He's the leader. He
I
has
cheer
the
for the
coolest
Desmond
weapon with fucking katana swords. And he's blue.
I don't like blue.
Well, that's because you're a bad person.
I don't like cool colors. Yellow is my favorite color. I'm a warm color kind of person.
Well, even still, all 4 Ninja Turtles, you could play as any of them.
I can play as Michelangelo, and you can play as Leonardo, and I'll kick your ass.
And then the nerds out there could play as Donatello with his fucking wooden stick hitting people in the shins.
Donatello's my second favorite, so don't talk that.
It's all about Leonardo, man. All about Leonardo.
You can't be mad at the katanas, though.
Yeah. Plus, in the original cartoon, he was voiced by Cam Clark, which is one of my favorite voice actors of all time. So.
Okay, I'll give you that.
And his name is Cam, and I go by Joe Cam. So it's like a bond, I guess.
Twinsies!
I will say, the first time I played Dead Island and I heard he was the reporter who left the voice tapes all around. The first time I heard Cam Clark say fuck in a video game was like, Leonardo said fuck. It just blew my head off.
When I played that, I sat there forever and I was like, I have heard this voice. I know this voice. And I spent a long time searching until I figured out who it was. And I was genuinely impressed because I was like, I knew that voice. I didn't know who it was until I saw the pictures together, but I knew that voice. That's your Saturday morning growing up was Ninja Turtles.
Hell yeah. I own all of the original cartoon on DVD. I still, even despite the fact that I own all the DVDs separately, I still want to get like that complete series that comes in the turtle van. Like, I need that in my life.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, I'm going to have to link you after the show.
Please do.
I think it's like 60.
We might have to put that in the link of the show just because, there's people that's going to want that.
I think
and if not, they don't need to be listening to us.
last I saw, I think it was like $65 at Best Buy. So I might have, and that's the entire series of the cartoon, all of it.
Man.
So hot damn. I might watch some of that shit today. Anyway, last bit of news I have this week is 4 more games were added to the backward compatibility list on Xbox One, including Cars Mater National, because why not? Jewel Quest, which I was excited about, of all games. A horrible story with me with Jewel Quest. The achievements in the game require you to like beat the game, I think 5 times through, and somehow it lost my save file when I was on my 5th playthrough. So I've never been able to go back.
And then you were excited for it? And you're gonna have to start it all over unless you have cloud save?
Now it's a whole new... well, no, this was before like cloud saves were a thing. So I think it was like it just saved it into the game file. I don't know. Like the early arcade games didn't have save files.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I don't know how the game was saved. I don't know if like the game got deleted so my progress went with it, or I don't know what the fuck happened. Like these were the old days of the 360. So and then the other 2 were Tecmo Bowl Throwback, which I thought was interesting to see an NFL game show up on there.
Right.
And then Persona 4 Arena, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard of the Persona series, but I'm not familiar with it. Like, I haven't played it.
Yeah.
But I didn't even realize there were any Persona games on Xbox.
Well, they released
I
Persona.
just hear everybody going on about them on PlayStation all the time, but I don't even. They're on Xbox.
Well, they released Persona 4 Arena and then P4 Arena, I think Ultimax, something like that. They aren't real Persona games. They're fighting games based in the Persona universe.
Okay.
So I think that's why they came to Xbox, because they're fighting games. I would love to see.
What is the actual Persona game then?
Huh?
What is Persona then?
RPG, like hardcore JRPG.
Really?
Yes, and I would love to see those come to Xbox.
I think you will be dreaming for a very long time.
Oh, I know I'll be dreaming for a very long time on that.
I'd love to help you out there, but that's... I'm hopelessly optimistic in every way, and then as soon as I hear a game is a JRPG, I was like, yeah, we ain't getting that. That's all there is to it.
Hey,
like, I don't even... my optimism meter goes...
There's still hope that we might see Cat Quest on the Xbox.
Cat Quest! Is that a JRPG? That's not a JRPG.
It's like an action RPG, but it's an RPG.
It's something.
But yeah, that's all the news I got. Any news you want to talk about?
Fucking no, I don't pay attention to anything. I just have opinions when you guys tell me stuff. You're like, did you hear this? No, tell me more. That's awful. What's next? What's now? That's how I handle the news segment.
there was one more little thing. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about GameStop was going to be doing a Game Pass program, or whatever the hell they called it, where you would pay $60 and it would last 6 months, that you can get any used game. When you're done with it, return it, get a different used game, and then at the end of those 6 months, you get to keep any one game. So it was basically like a 6-month rental thing that GameStop was doing a soft launch of. And before the actual official launch of it, they already canceled it.
Wow, God damn it. Why'd you even tell me about it?
Well, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show. It was brought up.
Yeah.
But, just this past week, they're quoting temporarily pausing the program. Some people think that it might just be that they don't have the proper infrastructure and systems on their computers and program blah 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 whatever to actually have it work properly. And they just scrapped it, and they said everyone who already signed up for it would get a full refund, and they get a game as well. So if people were lucky enough to get in there and give it a shot, they kind of made out.
Yeah. I would have signed up for something like that. I really would have.
But now you can't, because it's over.
Yeah. Thanks for dashing my dreams, Joe.
Damn right. Anyway, we do have reviews to talk about this week, and I guess I'll kick things off with the first game to talk about, called Road Rage, developed by Team 6, published by Maximum Games. It released November 14th on Xbox One, PC, and PS4 for $29.99. Road Rage is an over-the-top, knockdown, drag-out motorcycle combat game that tests your skill on a range of badass bikes. Race, fight, and hustle your way through the ranks of an insane outlaw motorcycle gang. This is a pretty interesting game with a very, very wildly varied experience. First off, it's an open world map, although it does feel a little bit lifeless at times. It reminded me of like the earlier GTA games where it wasn't a massive map, but it was still open world. So you could cruise around, you could, find different missions on the map, do what you got to do. Proceed from mission to mission across a variety of different race modes. They have elimination. They have sprint races where you start in a spot. There's an end goal and you just have to get there any way you can, as quick as you can, which I thought was fun. Standard races, checkpoint races, just a bunch of different stuff. There's also a bunch of different weapons, bikes, riders to unlock, lots of upgrades, customization for the bikes as well. I was kind of confused because I knew that there were upgrades and bikes you could get and weapons you could pick up, and I couldn't find any stores in the map. I'm like, where the fuck are these things? They're all done at your clubhouse, which is through the pause menu.
Oh.
There's not an actual
is this
clubhouse.
The game that people were saying looked like the racing in Saints Row. Is that the right one?
I don't know. I'm not sure what people... you heard different things from me, but...
yeah.
Go ahead.
I swear it was this one, but now I feel dumb and like maybe it wasn't, and maybe there's another racer that I'm getting confused with, because that's the thing that happens. So, but I swear that people were saying that this one resembled the way that you used to play the racing games in Saints Row 3.
I'm not too sure. But anyway, the world is divided up into different areas. Each one has one single collectible, which is hidden away randomly. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to where they are. I've only found 2 of them so far, so they're just like tucked away in stupid out-of-the-way places that you would probably never look for. This story is pretty cringeworthy. The voice acting is pretty rough. It's not the prettiest game either. It's just a very sloppy game in a lot of ways. Like, even when you drive through puddles in the game, there's zero change to the puddle. Like, there's no water effects. There's no, water doesn't stick to your tire and then leave a mark as you leave it. It's like the puddle is just a graphic on the ground that you glide over. The physics in the game are also a very special kind of fucked up. The ragdoll when you hit pedestrians with a weapon is hilarious 9 times out of 10. Like, you'll just smack them, they'll go fucking flying. It is hilarious to watch. Actual bike physics are very weird. Running over something like a traffic cone can either have you, clip directly through it, or it'll kick you like 50 feet up in the air for some reason. And then I've already had an instance where I've hit pedestrians with my weapon. I was going fairly slow, just cruising so I could smack them, and it would shoot me to like max speed and slam me into a building. Oh. No clue why. Just physics, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe it was punishment for hitting poor people with your weapon.
Probably.
What kind of monster are you, Joe?
I'm a horrible monster, especially when there's achievements to like hit 1,000 pedestrians. Side note, if you're going to have achievements like that in your game, have achievement tracking. For the love of Christ, if I have to hit 1,000 people with my weapon in the game, give me a counter or give me like a progress bar so I know if I'm getting anywhere close at all. Yeah. Please, for the love of God. Bike
Even
handling.
If it's only something that pops up like on the screen in the game, it says like achievement progress.
Like, you hit 100 people. Thanks. Now I know I only have 900 more to go.
900 more to go.
The bike handling in the game is like super, super ridiculously tight. You nudge in a direction and that's the way your bike is going immediately. It's a bit jarring to start off, but once I got into it, after a couple of minutes, it felt fine. I didn't have any issues with it. Actually, I enjoyed the handling in there once I got used to it. There are cops in the game, so if you beat down enough pedestrians, the cops will come after you, allegedly. The cops in the game are fucking morons. There's no other way to put it. I have already stopped directly next to a cop and watched him do donuts in the street. When I had like a 3-star wanted rating, just
maybe
circling
the cop has his own objectives, and maybe one of them is to do 1,000 donuts. He's trying to pop his own fucking achievement.
The one time, like, I was trying to get away from a cop, so I went around a block, and I noticed that the car was stopped on the other side. So just to test it out, I had a cop chasing me, and I just took a corner really tight, and the cop was basically direct line of sight. Like, he was trying to get to me directly, no matter what was in the way. So he's driving into a house, just getting nowhere because he's driving in a house, trying to get to me direct. Like, he didn't go around the block. He was just trying to drive straight through. So the cop AI in this game, I never felt under any actual pressure from the cops in this game. So I could just beat the shit out of people. There were missions, like they'll have roadblocks. Cops will set up roadblocks. Doesn't matter. You can just drive right through them, or you can drive around them, or you could stop directly next to them, and the cop cars that are there are just decoration, I guess. They don't do anything. And it may sound like I have a lot of gripes with the game, and I do. All that aside, this game is fucking fun. Like, it is. I spent an irrational amount of time just driving around hitting people with weapons because I knew the cops wouldn't do anything to me. Just going through races, knocking other riders off their bikes. It was a time sink. It was so stupidly fun. It is a very sloppy game, but it was so goddamn fun. I wish it were $10 cheaper. Like at $20, I think this would be an easy pickup. It's one of those, I hate saying it's a bad game, but there's a lot of problems with it. But it's like one of those so bad it's good kind of deals where I had so much fun with this and I want to keep playing it because, problems aside, it's just a fun arcade racing open world, beat the shit out of things and just clear your mind and relax. At $30 and with all the fucked up physics and sloppiness aside, I got to give it a hesitant buy it because it's just stupidly fun.
That is definitely not what I expected there.
I know. And no one's going to, because again, there's a lot of issues with the game. Like it's sloppy. It's not the greatest looking game out there. The physics are insane in the game, but it's fun. I can't deny how goddamn fun it was and how, like, the smile that was on my face as I would just cruise around and just hit pedestrian after pedestrian. It like slows down into kind of like a bullet time thing where you just slow-mo crack a guy in the face and then he'll do like 3 cartwheels as you hit him with a golf club. It's just over the top and stupid and fun, and I really enjoyed it. It is not for everyone. I will put that. That's why it's a hesitant buy it. But if you enjoy like B-movie games, I guess, like Deadly Premonition, stuff like that, if you can see a B-movie style game, a B game, I guess, you could probably get a lot of enjoyment out of this. So, yeah, hesitant buy it because it is stupid fun. Anyway, next game to talk about is called Wuppo, developed by Kunist and Perzik. I hope I said those right. Published by Sedesco. It released November 10th on Xbox One and PS4 for $19.99. After losing its home, one lonely Wum must travel the length and width of the world to find a new place to live. From the metropolitan-heavy Popo City to the cavernous Bleakopolis, our Wum will discover magical places, encounter strange creatures, but this Wum is no traditional hero, and only by using wit and charm can it succeed in this massive journey. Cole, what did you think of Wuppo?
This is such an odd game. I tend to gravitate toward games that are just overtly odd. But this one it's really hard to explain. I didn't really grab onto it the way that I wanted to. You do play as a Wom. A Wom is basically just a little circle with 4 little thin stick legs. And that's all he is. That's your character. He has no name. He does have a backstory, and the backstory is that he loves ice cream and he's really messy at eating it. He lives in the Wom house, which is basically a hotel for all the Woms. And the Wom that is in charge of it, his name is Carlos. Why he gets a name and your character doesn't, I don't know.
Carlos the Wom.
Carlos the Wom, he tells you, you're making too big of a mess, you're gonna get kicked out. So you ask him for one last ice cream. And he says, this is your last chance, don't make a mess. And then you proceed to make a literal mess, just ice cream going everywhere before you even get it back to your room where you can eat it. Carlos has had it with you, and you're out. Goodbye, Wom house. So now what the hell are you supposed to do? To add insult to injury, after you're thrown out of the Wom house, your TV gets stolen.
Oh, God.
Your Wom is having a really bad day. And so he's gone from his cushy little lifestyle of living in the Wom house, getting ice cream on demand, making great big messes, watching lots of TV. Now he has to set out to find a new home. I'd love to tell you what the overarching world name is. I'm just going to assume that the world is called Wuppo because there's no real, this is the land of, none of that is there as far as the backstory goes. But the Woms are not the only creatures that live in this world. There are 3 others. Please, for the love of God, don't ask me to pronounce their names. Except for the Fnackers. I can pronounce that one. And that's the most mundane of the 3. One of the groups is more they're like your gardeners, your farmers, and the other group is more of like your entrepreneurial types. They build big amusement parks and things like that for the Woms. And then the Fnackers are kind of warmongers. And at one point in time, they tried to take over all of the world of Wuppo, and the other 3 groups weren't having that shit, and exiled the Fnackers to a sinkhole, which you can find and go into. I'll get to that in a minute. So this backstory about the 4 races altogether and the world itself is told throughout film strips that are hidden in the world. And you can find those and take them to a projector. If you watch them, you'll get some coins that you can spend, and you get happiness points. Happiness points are your HP, your health for the game. And you actually grow your happiness points and your HP by doing good things for other people in the game, which is actually one of the best ways to go about this that I've ever seen. Because normally it's travel into a dark dungeon and get, slay a beast and you'll get some extra health. No, you're happy when you do things for other people. And that shows in the game. When you help the others, you earn a couple happiness points. So if you watch film strips with the older Woms, they'll have fond memories, and it makes you happy as well. They'll tell you stories, and you get some backstory that way. All of that is basically just to say your Wom has to just explore the world, and it starts off, his whole goal is only to find a new home. If you manage to succeed that far, then the game kind of switches into this whole now you have to save the world thing, which leads you back to the Fnackers and the sinkhole. And it's very odd that it just kind of spins. For me, the game could have stopped at the whole, hey, you found a new home, you learned some moral lessons, we're done here. Thanks for playing. The addition of this whole, hey, now you get to save the world was just kind of a weird tack on, if that makes sense. It just felt excessive. The game is mostly an adventure platformer. You're going to be trying to get into some weird places. At one point, you have to sneak into another Wom's room and steal a keycard, for example. But it does have combat in addition to the platforming. It's very minimal, though. You have a gumball gun. I believe the proper term was gobble gum gun. Say that 3 times fast.
No, I'm good.
So it shoots gumballs, and it does very minimal damage, and just has a very low arc and short range. But you can uncover places in the world where you can buy black market upgrades for your gumball gun and make it a little better. There are bosses. Market. Yeah, literally, like she's like, well, it might be maybe kind of not illegal, you know. So that's an option. You don't have to unless you're like going for the achievements. But I never at any point felt like I needed the upgrades to proceed. It just might have probably done it a little quicker as far as going against the bosses go. There are 17 bosses in this game.
Damn.
Which is a lot. But most of them are optional. You don't have to take them on if you don't want to. And if you're going for the achievements, sure. But if you're just playing to experience the story, you can skip a lot. Visually, the game looks like Paper Mario if it were drawn in Microsoft Paint.
I love the visuals in this game.
I just spent a lot of time. I was really impressed with the amount of detail work. But as a digital artist, I was just kind of frustrated.
I think that's part of the charm, though.
It is. I think it really is. And I realized that, you know, because I'm one of those snooty, you know, I'm an artist kind of people. I was just like, somebody buy these guys a pen and tablet. Because it looks like it's drawn in Microsoft Paint with a mouse.
It looks like it's done in crayon. It reminds me of Yoshi's Island with like the crayon style, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't play Yoshi's Island, so I'm not familiar. Yeah, but it does work overall. Like it's not poorly done in any way, even though it's very obviously odd. It's not poorly done, and I think that was one of the things that kind of amused me about it. Was I was just like, there's a lot of detail here given the art style that I did not expect. And somebody should have just bought these guys a pen and tablet.
But then it wouldn't have that personality and that style to it.
It is personable.
So this is your own fault, really. If we're gonna look at it this way, this is entirely your own fault.
I don't discredit the game for this at all. It was just odd for me. But it's funny that you kind of just get used to it. Like, I didn't have any qualms about the art style. I remember I was pretty good way in, and my husband comes into the room, and he's like, what the hell are you playing? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Whooppo. And I started explaining it, and he was just like, it looks weird. Yeah, it does.
But visual style aside, for $20, what is your verdict on this one?
I give it a pretty solid try. I would like to say a buy it. Like I said, it just felt like the end tacking on the whole save the world thing was just too much. And they had a really good, strong start, and it kind of just became repetitive after that. Once they could have just stopped where it should have.
Well, I'm gonna buy it, so ha.
I mean, I'm sure you'll have fun. The platforming and everything really worked well. I didn't have any complaints. Like, I didn't just randomly fall off shit for no good reason or whatever. So at least the controls and all that are tight. I liked that you could map the weapons and gear and stuff to whatever one of the face buttons that you wanted. It would have been nice to have been able to map them to bumpers or triggers or whatever. But pressing back on the controller brought up the menu. I guess it's technically supposed to be the menu button now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of back. And so...
Or no, the back is the view button. The start is menu.
Yeah, so that brings up your inventory and all that, and then once you hover over an item, you can map it to whichever one of the face buttons you want it on, which was nice because then I knew, it felt like this was a good button for the gobble gum gun, the gobble gum gun, and then this one's a good idea for the bazooka or whatever because you do eventually unlock a bazooka.
Nice.
And I didn't use it much. The gobble gum gun worked.
The gooble gobble gumble gum.
That thing that it gives you in the beginning, it's fine. You don't need that bazooka unless you want the achievement for fully upgrading the bazooka.
Nice.
So, I mean, really how much time you dump into it and explore is just up to you and whether or not you want to push for those achievements.
Which, most people will, I'm sure.
Most people will. If you're going to plunk $20 down on a game, you're probably going to put some time into the achievements on it.
True. But moving on, next game to talk about is called Ben 10, developed by Taurus Games, published by Outright Games. It released November 14th on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4 for $29.99. Ben, Gwen, and Grandpa Max once again have their cross-country road trip in the Rust Bucket cut short by supervillains and their evil, world-threatening plans. As Ben Tennyson, it's up to you to save the world. It's hero time. This is based on the new rebooted cartoon series. I know a lot of people prefer the old style, but I think this one holds its own. A beat-em-up style game using Ben just by himself is kind of pointless. Like when I first started, I was like, oh, well, Ben 10, I'm going to go punch some people in the face. And monsters came to me and I was just like struggling to beat anything. It felt slow. It felt clunky, sluggish. And then I remembered, wait, I have aliens I should be fighting as.
No.
You start with 3 of the 10 different aliens. And once you start swapping to use aliens and beating things up, it picks up and it plays like it's supposed to, and it's quite enjoyable. So if you start the game and you start punching things as Ben, and you're like, wow, this game feels clunky and slow, you're not supposed to use Ben. He's the middleman between all the cool aliens and their cool abilities and special powers that you're supposed to be using, as opposed to just the normal kid with the cool watch. Content-wise, there's only 6 stages in the game, which obviously isn't that much, but luckily the stages are fairly meaty. Some of them could easily take 30 or more minutes on your first playthrough. Each one also has an achievement to get through it in 15 minutes. So after your first time through everything and all your aliens are powered up, it gives you reason to replay and go through again. That said, some of the stages can drag on a bit. I personally would have rather seen maybe 12 stages that are all half the size instead of like some of the stages. They just feel like a bunch of stages stapled together at points where I think they could have broken it up and, gave it quicker, more bite-sized chunks because, your kid, they might not have 45 minutes to get through a level before bedtime, but they might have 10 minutes. So some of the replayability, again, there is going back to some of the earlier stages. Each stage also has 3 collectible cards that you could get. Some of them may require aliens that you get in later stages that you'll have to come back to and collect those cards. And then you could also replay through to, grind for the whatever the currency, the green crap is that you get from like the enemies and boxes and everything else that you use to upgrade your aliens. Each of the aliens has 3 upgrades that you could get, so plenty of stuff to upgrade. Although I have a feeling if you are fairly thorough and you're breaking all the crates as you go along and you're beating up all the enemies, you'll probably max out all your aliens before the end of the game. So once you do that, what else is there to go back for?
Yeah.
Visually, nice looking game. It has a cell shaded cartoony style aspect to it. It looks good. It plays well. The voice acting is really solid, featuring the show cast. And it's always good to hear John DiMaggio in a game. And you're like, hey, that's Bender. And overall, I think it's a really enjoyable game. I'm always a sucker for kids beat 'em ups like this. Just, in between all the shooting and murdering and assassinations going on in all the modern
Sometimes
games.
it's just good to have aliens.
It's good to have a palate cleanser. Just to go back.
You said the length of the stages, though, like, can you stop midway? Is there a checkpoint and then come back to it, or no?
I don't believe so. I haven't tried quitting in the middle of a stage, but it really does feel like you got to get through the whole thing.
All or nothing.
Yeah. I could be wrong. Again, like, I don't like getting halfway through a stage and quitting just in case, like, you don't pick up where you left off.
You're supposed to be testing for reviews, Joe. You have to try.
I'm supposed to be playing for review. I'm not a bug tester.
I just actively try to break everything you give me.
Yeah, I know, because you do break most things that you get for the show. I think it's a really fun, enjoyable game. For $30, there's certainly worse games you could get for your kids. There's no co-op, so you'll be watching them play it by themselves. But it's good to just, watch your kid play and hang out, or if you're like me and you just need a palate cleanser, just beat up some aliens. Some of the achievements might be a bit difficult because there's some boss fights that it's like beat the boss without taking any damage. And you're like, fuck me. So you might have to help your kids on some of them. But overall, $30, it's a solid recommended try it. Enjoyable stuff. It's cute. It's fun. I'm gonna edit in some other reviews now, so let's just pretend we're doing that.
Yay!
All right, next game to talk about is called Rive Ultimate Edition, developed and published by Two Tribes. It released November 17th on the Switch for $14.99. Pilot your spider tank as it runs, jumps, and shoots its way through hordes of mechanical enemies on land, underwater, in zero gravity, and even on a moving train. Rive is the metal-wrecking, robot-hacking shooter you've been waiting for. Got our friend Tim Ekibus covering this one. Tim, is this the shooter you've been waiting for?
Not specifically. I mean, like, the one I've been waiting for is like another great Geometry Wars, but that'll never happen now. So I'm going to be waiting until I'm dead.
True.
Maybe they give out new awesome versions of Geometry Wars in the afterlife. That would be pretty stellar.
I mean, Bizarre Creations is dead, so yeah, I guess they're in the afterlife too, right?
Exactly.
The corporate afterlife. So how is Rive?
Rive's pretty good. Despite not being the shooter I was waiting for. No. It is pretty good. I think this game's been out on Steam for at least a year, probably some other stuff too at this point.
Steam and PS4.
Yeah, there you go. I definitely have seen that logo around from time to time. It's a very distinct logo, I would say. But yeah, it's kind of like, so you jump the levels, it's a level-based game, you jump back and forth between some levels, you're like flying around in space, and in that case it's like, okay, this is very much like a twin stick shootery type deal, like your Geometry Wars. But most of the levels seem to be a more platformer oriented, where you are actually spidering around in your spider tank and, climbing through ducts, and the whole game you're like this scrapper dude who's going to pull scrap off this like massive spaceship or colony or some such, and there's some robot that lives there and is harassing you, but you're just trying to find some good loot to make money and later to get the hell out of there because this thing's trying to kill you. Spoiler. But yeah, so you're climbing around inside this ship, and there's like trains running around. There's like ducts. There's lava areas where you're running from lava. And yeah, so the game, it's got a pretty good variety to it. I was never bored playing this game. It was never like, oh man, they went to this well like a few too many times. Like it keeps moving. It's got a good variety of like environmental hazards, enemy waves, and just situations that you need to deal with. Like levels aren't overly long. They're probably about 15-20 minutes. The game has 12 missions, so you can math that out to a few hours or so. But it looks good and it plays really nice. Like there's a no like slowdown. It's a very crisp game all around. Like the way your tank moves around, the way you shoot, the way enemies move around, just like the level design, like everything is like it's good. It's just very good, very polished all around. There's very little to complain about just with like the way the game is constructed and performs, and that's good. Your abilities on your tank, you got like a little double jump, which can be like slightly finicky sometimes, but it's, you know, you got a double jump. You got your standard machine gun. You can purchase upgrades, which includes like, you know, armor upgrades, loot, attract, distance upgrades, and some other like sub weapons basically that you pick up ammo for. So there's like missiles and then like EMP type blast and a shotgun type deal. You can purchase those. You get the game. It's mission based, but you keep dropping back into this one same area kind of from time to time, which is when you can purchase things and then warp out. And you also find hacking modules as you go around, which lets you hack basically different enemies or drones in the environment. So the first one you get is you can hack these drones that will heal you, follow you around and heal you, which is awesome. And the next one after that is like an attack drone. And then, you know, it kind of goes from there. It doesn't seem like that stuff is hidden. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of stuff off the beaten path. It seems pretty straightforward. And you find that stuff just kind of as part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine. Whatever. That's good. The game's got some decent writing. Your dude likes to break the fourth wall. He's got some quips. Not everything lands, but some of it's, you know, pretty amusing. He's voice acted well, so he's not like annoying at all. And some of his interactions with this robot butler dude who is terrorizing him and who maintains the ship are pretty funny, especially because you could just blast the fucking thing whenever it's talking to you. And then like just another one appears.
Yeah, that was fun to do when I played it on PS4.
Oh yeah, it was the first thing I did when the thing like flew in the first time. I shot his ass, and then another one came in, and then, you know, sometimes I just do it when he was annoying me, just like whatever, that's fine. I will say I don't know if this was. I have like very nitpicky issues with this game.
Let's hear them. What do you got?
Well, just like it felt like, especially when enemies were coming in from like the top of the screens, because, you know, it's very widescreen, they'd come in pretty fast. Like they would be practically hitting me before I really had a chance to react if I didn't see them immediately. Like the ship is like a little bit squirrely when you're in kind of the 360 flying around mode. So it was a little tough to control precisely. Like I would fly into shit pretty regularly. And the game, it checkpoints a lot. But sometimes those checkpoints are kind of garbage because you'll spawn in and then you'll have to do something or you will die immediately.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's just like sometimes you just have to kind of like figure out that first 5 seconds of a checkpoint just so you can maneuver. But I mean, that's because it's like checkpointing in the middle of battle, so you're not having to replay a lot of stuff. So it's kind of a give or take, but it's annoying sometimes. The game's got like a bunch of different modes. As you play through the story, you unlock like score attack, and there's online leaderboards, and there's like an arcade mode, like a 1 credit clear challenge mode. So there's more stuff to replay, but, you know, the game is probably a good 4 hours on its own, which is probably just worth it for a playthrough. How much is this game?
$15, and it's actually on sale for the first week for $12.75.
Man, that sounds like a deal.
It does. It's almost like it's on sale.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it is in fact a deal.
And then, let's go with the PR spiel. Exclusive to the Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch, it has more achievements. So it loads faster, plays smoother, and is tweaked to perfection, you know, minus those little gripes you had. It has a co-pilot mode, so you could play with a friend.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's great.
If you have friends.
Let me explain this. I forgot. So the way that works is one person controls the movement, the other person controls the shooting. And when you die, you switch.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So that's fun.
My God.
That's a fun way to yell and scream at a friend of yours.
Play with a current friend before you lose him in the coming half hour.
Play when you're ready to lose a friend. That's fun. Yeah, that's good shit. It's a good game for $15 on the Switch. I mean, yeah, value proposition, your dollar to hour ratio, but I think that's more than fine for even if you're just going to play through the game once.
Yeah.
I think it's a good buy.
And then it has HD Rumble. How is the Rumble?
I think I turned it off. It kind of annoys me when I'm playing in a handheld mode. My hands are just like.
You don't like a hand massage while you play a game?
I did turn it off, as a matter of fact.
So overall, $15. You think it's worth picking up? Do you think this is a good send off for Two Tribes? This is their final game.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good. And yeah, like it is well optimized for the Switch. Plays really well. Yeah, it's a good game. I think you'll be happy. Yeah.
Good to hear and glad you liked it. Tim, always a pleasure having you on. Do you have any final thoughts to sum it up?
I just say it was quite the riveting experience. All
right, thanks to our correspondents, whoever they were, because I record this shit out of order. But next game to talk about is called Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, Episode 5, developed and published by Telltale Games. Episode 5 released November 7th for $4.99, and it's part of the Season Pass. In the aftermath of an unbearable sacrifice, the Guardians finally fracture. With her opposition in shambles, Hala renews her campaign of death and devastation, carving a path of indiscriminate destruction en route to nowhere. If he hopes to avoid catastrophe and save his own skin, Star-Lord must search his feelings, reunite his team, and mount one final mission to save the galaxy. Again. Cole, you've been covering this whole series for us. Tell us about the finale.
I have, and this is the required spoiler alert. I won't give any spoilers for episode 5, but there are spoilers for episode 4, so if you haven't played that far, mute me now.
Well, since you're spoiling episode 4, what was the sacrifice?
Oh, you have to decide. Is that the one where you have to decide? No, the sacrifice. You have to decide whether or not to throw off your mom's tape deck off of the. Or are you talking about when you have to decide whether or not to save Drax?
I don't fucking know. It's the description says in the aftermath of an unbearable sacrifice.
Oh, that part. Yeah, you have to decide whether or not to let Drax jump off the ship to kill the worm, or whether to make him stay. And so he seemed like he really wanted to go kill the worm, and I let him go because I thought I was doing the right thing. And then everybody fucking hated me because I let Drax die. And apparently, somehow, I didn't become Guardian of the Galaxy, I became Guardian of Drax, and everybody was mad at me. And I think there's nothing you can do in this game where everybody just doesn't get pissed at you anyway. Every choice you make leaves you with the entire fucking crew just hating you, no matter what. I have never seen the beat. So that's what I did. I let Drax go down the tube, and he killed the big worm that's chasing the ship, and everybody hated me for it. And so at the end, even Mantis had left me, Groot had left me, I had nobody left but Rocket. It was me and Rocket. So my whole plan to be Team Rocket this whole game kind of fucked me at the end. It was not a good look. It was just me and Rocket. And Hala is going around and eviscerating entire planets in an effort to call you out and to get you to come after her. She's been on this mission this entire game to she was trying to get the Eternity Forge so that she could bring her son back to life. And I made the decision to destroy the Eternity Forge, which then resulted in Hala being merged with the Forge when I destroyed it. And so she has just been gaining power from everybody that she has killed up until this point. And she is just eviscerating entire planets in an effort to call you out, because she blames Peter Quill for destroying the Forge because now she can't bring her son back. So at this point, she's calling you out, and it's just you and whoever's still hanging by your side at the end of episode 4, or in my case, just me and Rocket. Team Rocket, yay! So it's now up to you if you've managed to piss off your entire crew. If you've only pissed off 1 or 2, you're probably better off, and you're only going to have to go and reacquire those members, and hopefully Gamora doesn't kill you in the process. But I had to go and schmooze everybody back to the fucking Guardians because I killed Drax, apparently. Even though Drax suicided, I don't know.
Well, it's your fault. You told him to.
I hit the button and let him go down the
bitch.
chute.
How could you?
I'm a monster. Nobody likes Drax anyway. Nobody says Drax is my favorite Guardian. Oh my god, I love Drax. It's all about Groot. And
Drax is my favorite wrestler out of the 5 of them.
I don't even... Wrestling is not my thing, and that guy doesn't even do the voice of Drax in this one, so you're out of luck. You can't even argue me there. But you have to get everybody back on your side and come up with a plan to use the Guardians for what they're best at, to put the plan in motion to take down Hala.
Hala Hala.
I feel funny every time I say her name. I'm sure it sounds ridiculous with the redneck accent.
Probably.
So it's the Guardians versus Hala, and that is where episode 5 brings us. But like I said, every episode in this season has focused on one of the Guardians' backstories, and there is one left who we have not seen the backstory for yet. Can you guess who it is? Have you been paying attention, Joe?
Not at all. It's been months. I barely remember last week.
It's Groot. So, with Groot, we get to go into his memories of when the Guardians first came to be together. And one of the best things about it, you would think the only options for speech with Groot would be, I am Groot. It's not. You get the 3 dialogue options when you are playing as Groot, just as if you were playing with anybody else. You get to choose. And yet, when he speaks, no matter what you choose, I am Groot. But the best part is that depending on what you choose, affects the tone and how he says it and his facial, reactions to the term. So you know that in his head, he is legitimately coming up with responses to everything everybody's saying around him. It just all comes out as, I am Groot. And I think that was one of the best moments, apart from the arm wrestling montage in episode 3. One of the best moments was just constantly thinking out your reaction, and so will remember that, and it's just, I'm Groot. So I loved that. I think the final fight could have used some better choreography. It was just very... all the fights in this season have been quick time event heavy, but I think it was episode 3 that was Gamora's backstory, where you had the fight with Gamora and Nebula against Thanos' soldiers, and it was just incredibly well choreographed. The button presses, the motions, they were all timed really well, and for a big finale, this one kind of lacked that. It was just like, okay, do this. Okay, do that. And even the fight sequence was more just watch and maybe push right trigger here or there. It was very, very minimal. And it was kind of a disappointing end to an otherwise pretty solid season.
Yeah, I know you said even episode 4 was pretty solid this go around. So instead of giving a verdict on this final episode, let's just hear about it for the whole season. Is the whole season, including the final episode, because I can't talk today, is it worth picking up for $25?
For $25, absolutely. Yeah, it's a buy it.
Cool. I will have to grab that one eventually myself. I've kind of been slacking on the Telltale stuff just because of time, but
if there is time for anything in this world, there is time for Telltale games.
Very true. But I've been busy with other stuff, like the next game that we're going to talk about, called De Blob, originally developed by Blue Tongue Entertainment, the new console version developed by Blitworks, published by THQ Nordic, released November 14th on Xbox One and PS4 for $19.99, previously on Steam as well. The evil Inked Corporation has declared color is a crime and leached Chroma City of all its beauty and interest. The race to rescue Chroma City has just begun, and only De Blob can save the world from a black and white future with his unique abilities to color the world back to life. This was originally a Wii game, so way back when. Yeah, the original De Blob was originally a Wii game. It got a sequel that was released on like PS3 and Xbox 360. This is the first time that the original game is available on other consoles, so it's exciting to see. You are a color blob who needs to return color to the world by absorbing ink from, these little ink monster things that roam around and spreading it on buildings, trees, walls, everything. So gameplay-wise, you target one of these ink bots, jump on it, and it turns you to that color. And then as you rub up against buildings or whatever else, it just colors everything that color. A lot of the game will come down to mixing and matching colors to get, the proper colors that you need. Each of the stages has different challenges that task you with painting certain buildings, certain colors. There's collectibles in there. Goals for painting certain billboards, or there's blimps in stages, or painting X amount of the level, all the way up to 100%. Some of the stages could get pretty long. Everything is timed. Like, it starts you with a 20-minute time limit. And then as you complete certain building clusters, you'll release some of the inhabitants that you could then paint. And they'll not only give you score, but they'll give you a time bonus that you could get. Some of the challenges will give you time bonuses as well. So there's been plenty of times where, like, they'll start you with 20 minutes and you'll end with, like, 30-some.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Depending on how quick you go. If you putz around, you could easily burn through your time. Although, all the levels, they also have time challenges that you could try hitting. I think like the first stage alone is like an 8-minute that you got to try beating it to hit that mark. Some of the stages are pretty long, a lot of content in there, lots of replayability as well if you're a completionist. That way, if you missed, if you missed like 3 trees, you go back and replay the stage. I wish there was a way to like free play it and just go back and get what you missed instead of replaying the whole stage. What are you going to do? Visually, It's a pretty solid game. It's been, up-resed and enhanced from the Wii, obviously. The cutscenes are not the best looking. Since it was a Wii game, everything was in glorious 480p back then. Everything has been spruced up, including the cutscenes, but they're just, the game just looks so much better. The cutscenes look kind of fuzzy and kind of muted. You could tell that they're not rendered in-engine. They're just pre-made cutscenes. Controls can be a little bit of a fickle bitch in this game, to put it gently. I very often found myself jumping in places or in directions I didn't mean to jump, or going up a wall in a wrong direction. The controls will take some getting used to. Oh, God. Why am I getting sick? Why? You did this to me.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I very, very often found myself like jumping directions I didn't want to jump. Or, if you're trying to corner around something and you try jumping to another building across the way, not hitting the corner properly and like jumping into the water, which is always fun. In addition to the different ink colors you could get, there's also like a corrupted black ink that if that gets on you, you need to get back to water to clean yourself off before you could get any other colors back on you. Overall, I think it's a fairly solid game, a great pickup for $20, especially if you've never played the first one. It's good to see it on more consoles. I believe this is the same version on Steam as well. I do think the sequel was a better game overall. It just took everything from the first game and expanded on it and just improved it in plenty of ways. Luckily for us Xbox fans, the sequel is part of the backward compatibility program, so you could get them both on your Xbox One. For $20, you might as well just get the first one and pick up the second as well. Maybe solid sales of these will lead to a third game if we're lucky. $20, it's a very recommended try. It's a lot of fun, but again, if you can play the sequel, go with that one instead. If you can only do one, if you could do them both, do them both.
Nice.
And then final game to talk about tonight is called Homefront: The Revolution. And you may be saying, Joe, why are we covering Homefront: The Revolution? You know, because it released in May of 2016. Well, it just got an Xbox One X patch on November 7th. So that is why we're giving it another look. I know it has had a lot of patches released over the past year and a half, including the Xbox One X patch for 4K and HDR and all that pretty fun stuff. Developed by Dambuster Studios, published by Deep Silver. Philadelphia, once the birthplace of independence, has become a ghetto where surveillance drones and armored patrols crush any dissent with savage force. In the Badlands of the Red Zone, a resistance is forming, a guerrilla force determined to fight for their freedom despite overwhelming odds and ignite the Second American Revolution. But freedom always has a price. Cole, what is that price?
Your life. No. I need to clarify something. I was a huge Homefront fan on 360. Like, I liked Homefront better than Call of Duty. I loved Homefront. And I begged everybody to buy Homefront, and I begged them all to play with me constantly, and they always just wanted to play Call of Duty, and I was so sad because Homefront was amazing, and I thought, I will never get a sequel to Homefront. And then Homefront: The Revolution came out, and then I rented it, and I was very disappointed.
Yeah, when Homefront: The Revolution came out, it released to near universal disdain. A lot of people had issues with glitchiness. They said the game wasn't that good looking. It was just rough in every way possible. But again, they've been doing patches and updates on this game for a year and a half. And while I haven't played the original version of the game, I have played it on the Xbox One X, which, hooray, my system is working. We could cover that after this review, because I know some people are probably wondering the saga of my system. I thought the game looked amazing on the X. I wanted to say it looked beautiful, but this is a very intentionally ugly looking game.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look beautiful, but it looks like it's supposed to look. Like crisp textures, very, very smooth gameplay, a little bit of frame drops here and there, but it is it's a big game. There's a lot of shit going on. So it could be expected to see some drops here and there during busy stuff. I thought it looked and played really, really well in single player with the time that I put into it. But, since you did play the original version, and now that you've played it after all these patches and updates, what are your thoughts on the changes?
I'm really looking forward to completing the game now. I honestly am. Like, it made me love Homefront again. I was so sad. Like, everybody that talks to me about games ever knows my saga of being heartbroken over Homefront: The Revolution. And I can finally say it's playable, it's redeemed itself, and I've enjoyed it again. And I really looked forward. Every time I launched it, I was like, I'm going to play Homefront. It's not perfect still. It does still have its moments. I got glitched into a rock because I fell wrong and I had to load up the last checkpoint. But at least that's an option. If I remember correctly before, I remember before that I couldn't just hit load last checkpoint for some reason or another. And it just wouldn't do it if I messed up somehow. Now, I fall into a rock and it only happened once. It's not like it was something I was doing repeatedly, but I did jump wrong and I fell into this crevice and I got stuck. And I swear every shooter ever does that. You get stuck in a crevice somehow that you can't get out of. But I was just able to hit load last checkpoint and it took me back, a little bit, but it was a reasonable amount. And I was able to continue on with the mission like nothing had happened. I didn't have to die. I didn't lose my valuables. I was able to keep playing. So, you'd like to see that not happen, but given that it happens in literally every first-person game ever, at least it was something I could work around.
Yeah.
And I think the funniest part was where I hadn't played it since release, because I didn't buy it, I just rented it. And when I loaded it back up, my save was obviously still there. And I was a pretty good piece into the game, and I'm sitting around going, I I don't remember how to use any of this shit.
What the fuck was I doing?
I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. It's one thing to get dropped into the beginning of a game and not know shit. When you've beat a little over half of it and then you're thrown into it and you're just like, shit. They're killing me again. I don't know what to do.
It's good to hear that the game is pretty much improved in nearly every way since the first launch.
At least I toughed it out and I relearned what I was doing and I was able to play it. And I've put quite a bit of time just into the single player again. Just because I could. It was enjoyable. The missions, with taking out the strongholds and stuff, it can get a little repetitive, but you're not limited because it's an open world. You're not limited to like, okay, take out one stronghold, take out one operation base, take out one tank or whatever, the Goliath, and then you're not like in a line taking these things out over and over repeatedly. So, if you don't want to fuck with taking out that stronghold, you don't have to. Yeah. You can carry on and go wherever you want and still progress the story without hating yourself trying to take out. I had a mission to take out a stronghold without firing a weapon.
Oh god.
And so, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do that right now. And I didn't because it was 7:30 a.m. and I like a little bit of sanity to start my day with. And I was just like, no, I'm going to cancel that mission and I'm going to go do something that's not going to drive me insane at 8 a.m.
Makes sense.
It was playable and it was enjoyable and it's just not broken like it was. And I'm so happy that I could just sit here and tell you the nonsense shit I did, running around killing KPA for a while.
Yeah.
It makes you feel kind of horrible given the current state of things in the world. But
I don't think I put anywhere near as much time into it as you. And I think one of the big reasons is, I've gone over on the show before how some first-person games could get me motion sick. Mm-hmm. Playing in 4K with highly improved frame rates and how smooth it is, that's going to take some getting used to. That's for sure. To have everything moving as smooth as it does in first person, it's a whole new experience for me. And with how crisp and clean everything looked, the textures looked fantastic. Mm-hmm. Everything was smooth. Like I need to get used to that. I'm going to have to reacclimate myself to playing first person games seemingly all over again because of how differently everything felt. And it was really interesting, but thankfully I didn't get any motion sickness.
The only thing that I could see still being a problem for some people is the load times. Mm-hmm. And I'm not on the 1X. I'm just on the 1. And I didn't have any problems. Like, I didn't think they were as long as they had been. They'd obviously been improved from when I'd played before. So that is, better, but they are still longer. Mm-hmm. I think, though, people tend to forget that these are massive open worlds. And even though the world in Homefront's not as big as maybe some others, there's a lot going on. And there are, the strongholds are carrying on whether you're there or not. And there's characters moving around, whether you're there or not. And that takes time to load and render. And we tend to forget that as gamers, that you can't just snap your finger. It's not like walking out the door and the world's there. You have to wait a little while. I don't know, if they were improved on the 1X even beyond what the 1 has, but at least they were much more manageable. Like before, I used to load it up when I had rented it, and I was like, I remember telling my husband, I'm going to have to rent this for a couple extra days just because I'm losing time waiting for it to load. And I did. I kept it, I think, for like 3 or 4 days when I would normally only keep one for a day or two. And just because the load times were ridiculous. And now they're not. They're very much with, on par with what the Division would be, for example.
Yeah, I will say
think it was anything outlandish.
On the X during single player stuff, I really didn't notice any kind of load times at all in single player. If there was, they were masked well behind cutscenes and everything else, but I thought everything was fairly quick, fairly responsive. In multiplayer, I think multiplayer might still need a little bit of work because I thought the load times were very noticeable on the multiplayer, loading up the scenarios and maps.
Surprising too. Like, I seemed to load up faster than you did when we played, which was a little odd. Like,
it might have been because you were host.
And you were like, could be.
So your game knew it to load before mine.
You were still just sitting there, and I'm like, I can see your yellow pants.
I also noticed significantly more glitches on the multiplayer than I did in the single player.
Yeah.
There were, I know, two very noticeable occasions. One was when I was peeking out the one window to shoot some enemies, and all of the scenery was disappearing and like fading in and out based on where I was, which, you know, I recorded a clip of that. You'll have to check my clips on Xbox. And then the other time was when I died, but you hit a checkpoint, and after you died, the game still thought I was alive, but I was already dead. So it cut to me, and I'm not sure what all you saw, but on my end, it showed me in third person, and as I was like turning and looking up and down, my legs were stationary, but my torso was twisting and like bending back and forth.
See, I didn't see that, but I could see you like switching your weapons and going through your grenades and stuff.
Yeah, and I had no head.
You had a head. You had a head for me. Yeah, man bun and all, but you had a head.
And then I saw a floating Molotov, but
I think the main thing that's supposed to happen there is if your teammates are dead and you hit a checkpoint, they automatically get revived. But there's a limit to how many times you can be revived in the multiplayer missions. And so you had hit your limit and couldn't be revived anymore. And I hit the checkpoint, and the game just kind of panicked and didn't know what to do with you. Because you couldn't be revived, but you weren't supposed to still be dead. And the only option we had was to leave the match and lose our progress.
Which was fun, because we spent, like 15 minutes on that match?
It was a good chunk of time, yeah. So it was disappointing to lose that progress. But that was in a custom match. But now when we played publicly, I feel like it was much smoother.
Yeah.
Again, though, I was the host. So the only times I really noticed anything odd was sometimes if I was like switching through my grenades a little too fast, because you do have 4 grenade options. And if I was like rifling through them a little quickly, as I am prone to do because I am eccentric as fuck, I would, switch between them, and then I would look at my hand would be there, and it would say what grenade I had at the bottom, but there wouldn't actually be anything in my hand. But then I could throw it, and the indicator, like, there would not be a graphic rendered for the grenade, but you could see the interactions of it in the world appropriately.
Nice.
Like, it was just a very odd invisible grenade, but it did what it was supposed to do, and we were able to complete the missions. I think the other thing about playing publicly on multiplayer that surprised me was how many other people there actually were to play with.
I wonder
they
if
were jumping in and out pretty regularly.
I wonder if the X patch and the recent updates are encouraging people to get back to it. I know it's also been on sale a number of times. Like, the current normal price is $30 for the game. I know probably within the past month or so, I know that the full game with the season pass was on sale for like $16.
Nice.
So it has had some really big sales. So a year and a half post-release for $30, is this game worth giving another chance?
I say yes. I really
agree.
do.
Especially if you can find it on sale. If you could find it on sale for $16 with all the DLC, fucking jump on that.
That's a fuck it, why not? I know that we normally save that for under $10, but for a game that was originally $60.
With like a $30 season pass or $20, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's a fuck it, why not for a AAA if there ever was one.
Yeah, because I know even just the game itself I've seen down for $12.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's worth giving another shot. But last thing I guess to talk about is my X saga. Where were we last week on the show? Where were we last week? Like, where did I leave off?
Oh, man. I recall you were having trouble. You were getting system errors when you were trying to install Rock Band stuff.
Okay, well...
Not sure if I've missed anything in between there.
Do you remember which console I was on?
2?
Okay, because I am presently on my 3rd. For the people who may have missed anything, last week when I picked up my X, I got a Scorpio edition, hooked it up, and I would get system errors, whether it was trying to re-download stuff, whether it was trying to copy stuff to or from hard drives. I know when I was trying to do the whole network transfer thing, I got system errors on that. I even had it where I would finally get everything loaded up. I let it idle in Rock Band so it could repopulate all my content licenses for all the DLC I have. And the game would just freeze. And then when you would try hitting the guide button, the guide wouldn't pop up, the screen would gray out. And when I would finally try doing a hard reset, system error, factory restore, start over. First system, wow. I gave up, returned it to GameStop. They had one shipped in from another, or no, they didn't ship it. The manager at the store drove like 35 minutes away because he's like a regional supervisor, so he'll visit other stores, and he pretty much found an excuse to go to that store, pick up a Scorpio, and have it shipped in for me. Did a swap, hooked it up. This is probably where we were last week. Same thing. No. I tried giving it a few days and tried dealing with it. It just kept happening. Went back to GameStop. I was like, I know Hazleton has, which is like a half hour away from me. I know they have standard systems. Can I just return it here, get credit, and go there and get it? Should I return it up there? And the lady who was working there, Megan, was like, well, let me check the system. Oh, well, this store has a Scorpio. Let me call them, see if they could ship it in. The guy there said that, oh, well, I'm driving down that way later on today. I'll just drop it off.
You have impeccable luck.
I do. It also helps that I'm friends with the people at GameStop. Swapped it out, got the third one, hooked it up, set it up. Everything seemed to be working fine. Went to bed, woke up, came out. Ashley was watching, or was attempting to watch TV, and it was a black screen. I'm like, oh my God, are you watching anything, or is it paused? She's like, no, it errored out.
No.
It was early in the morning. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Because I thought this one was good. I thought it worked all night for me, had no problems. Same fucking issues again. And I was ready to just box it up, take it back to GameStop, and give up with it. All through the weekend, I was in touch with 2 different guys at Microsoft, like not customer service. Like these are guys who worked on the hardware and software teams for the X, like guys who made the system. I've been talking with them. They couldn't figure it out. They were trying to track down like crash reports for my systems, trying to figure it out. With my third one, I made the decision I was going to leave it hooked up. I was going to keep going through the errors, keep sending them reports on when it was happening, what it was doing. And the one time when I had some games lined up to install, everything stopped and it would just pop up, installation stopped, and it would give some kind of error code message. I was like, This is new. This is what it's doing. And he's like, are you in the preview program? I said, no. A couple of weeks ago, I was having issues with one of the, before the new dashboard hit, I was in the, I want to say Delta group, and there was just some kind of issue where it was fucking with my console. And that's when I went through like 2 different exchanges with Xbox support trying to get me a working S. And it came down to, it was an issue with the preview program and my console, so I left the preview program. He said, rejoin it, any tier, and just update your console, because whatever they've been working on with the new preview has addressed whatever that specific error I was getting, the OXAF, whatever the fuck it was. And I updated it. During the update, twice, I got system errors.
Oh my God.
And he was like, there's an issue with the update taking on your system. Just keep trying it. Finally got the system updated. I was in the preview program. Everything was updated and everything was installing and everything was working normally. My hard drives are plugged in. My games are showing up. I was like, all right, well, let me start re-downloading all my 360 games that I have on the internal memory. All of them installed. No issues. I'm like, all right, last thing I need to do, load up Rock Band, let it idle, let my songs repopulate. I let it sit for a while. I did a refresh to get the songs. It was starting to repopulate. I had up to like 800 songs were detected, so things were looking good. I hit the guide button. I was going to watch TV. The guide never popped up. Screen grayed out. Guide never popped up. Couldn't do anything except hard reset the system. And I'm like, it's happening again. I'm going to hard reset it. It's going to sit on the green Xbox logo for 2 minutes, and then it's going to go to a system error. So I turn it off, turn it back on, boot it up.
Huh.
No system error. I'm just like, well, maybe it was just something fucky happened.
It's a little victory.
And I haven't had a problem since. It's been 3 days. Knock on wood. System is working. I didn't have any, apparently there were no hardware errors or hardware issues with my systems. It was all, I don't know if it's related to my account. They think that because I'm such a fringe user and the fact that like right now I have over 1,500 games installed on my system across all my hard drives. I have 2,300 Rock Band files on my system, and they think that there was just some kind of fucked up incompatibility where that much content was just like the operating system couldn't handle it because I'm such a fringe user, and whatever was in that preview update was addressing that issue. And I didn't have bad systems. I have too much shit.
I was afraid of that when you kept saying that it was the Rock Band files that it kept hanging up on the most.
Yep.
I was like, man.
And then I was worried. I was worried because last night I finally, like, all my Rock Band stuff was there, and I went into the song list, and like a good 100 songs were missing, which happens every now and then. Like when you do a factory reset, just something where the licenses don't populate correctly and there's a handful of songs that just don't show up. This is the first time it's ever been that many though. And the only solution, aside from like continually rebooting, continually trying to refresh the licenses, would be to go through my file list and find the songs that were not registering properly. And thankfully it's easy to tell. The ones that are showing up in the game in between the song title and the artist have 2 dashes. Ones that aren't showing up only have 1 dash. I went through all 2,300 files, deleting the single dashes, reinstall them all. Everything showed up. Everything's working. The games look incredible. And I think things are okay.
So the moral of the story is don't have 2,300 songs for Rock Band.
Moral of the story is don't buy so much shit. But
just because we say buy it to a lot of the games doesn't mean you should actually buy them all.
Yeah, buy in moderation. Like, I'm lucky that so many of these I've either had over years, because I want to say I have 300 to 400 360 games installed alone from the backward compatibility. And then I have all the review games that I've gotten on here. I have all the games that I've purchased myself. So shit adds up. Yeah. And the fact that I have all these hard drives and I keep everything installed, I guess it's my own fucking fault. But everything's working. Everything is good. And I'm back on the, hey, Xbox is cool bandwagon again. Mainly because it wasn't a problem with the consoles. It was just... like the perfect storm. It was a perfect storm of my content with OS limitations and trying to push things the way that they're not meant to be pushed. That just, I did to the Xbox One X what you do to every game.
How's it feel to be me?
I fucked with it in ways that it wasn't meant to be fucked with, completely unintentionally, just by using it normally. So hopefully next week on the show, everything will still be good, because I said that even the people at GameStop and the 2 guys at Microsoft. So Mike and Cecil, I know you're not listening, but thanks anyway for all the help that you gave me over the weekend trying to figure this shit out. If something happens with this system, I'm fucking done. I'm going back to my S, and I'm done. But yeah, it's working. Everything is normal. And I guess, I don't know, buy it, whatever. Give it a recommended buy it. So yeah, that's the show. Thanks again to Desmond for joining and chatting about Cat Quest with me. Again, I really, really hope something works out with that coming to Xbox, because the game is a blast on the Switch. And games that cool need to be everywhere. I hate this only showing up on one or two platforms shit. Like, come everywhere.
Exclusivity is bad for gamers. And now you can get hate messages in the comments because I said that shit.
Oh, man. On that note, Cole, thanks so much for hanging out and chatting news and chatting games and playing Homefront with me and listening to me bitch about how much shit I own. You're like, you entitled prick. Fuck you.
Yeah. Thanks for putting up with me.
And thanks to the listeners for listening to us wheeze and cough and be out of breath from talking. And 'tis the season to be sick, so look forward to this for the next 3 months of me wheezing through episodes.
3 months. We got till like April or May here.
Music, I have no idea what I'm playing tonight. So, Cole, final words to end the show.
No.